Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with Tru Heel Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching Tru Heel Heat podcast.
Hello everyone, it's the hardcore legend Mick Foley wishing a nice day to everyone there, right there at Tru Heel Heat. Yeah!
What's up, Tru Heel Heat? Tru Heel Heat.
What's up?
Tru Heel Heat.
It is Saturday morning. You know what that means. It's time for some Tru Heel Heat. I have a SmackDown hangover, so you will hear my voice is a little bit strange from screaming, "I love you, my tribal chief," because I got to see Roman Reigns live in person, got to see the contract signing where it is official. CM Punk is going to close the show on April 19th. CM Punk is officially a WrestleMania main eventer. Seth Rollins is pissed about it. Roman Reigns is happy about his paycheck, but a little bit nervous about what that favor is from his wise man. We'll discuss everything from SmackDown last night, and was it the right choice to have CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns as the main event over the two Royal Rumble winners, over the other women's triple threat matchup? We'll break that down today. We'll also be discussing major moves in the other promotions like AEW, Saraya departing from the company after 3 years, Mina Shirakawa coming into the company after finishing up with Stardom. TNA is gonna TNA, and they fired Gail Kim. I swear to God, these are the biggest fucking idiots. Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. We are live on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for Tru Heel Heat 322 Additions by Subtractions, discussing the latest wrestling news, including Saraya leaving All Elite Wrestling, Mina Shirakawa leaving Stardom to join AEW, TNA is gonna TNA, and they have fired Gail Kim as well as more executives following up from last year firing of Scott D'Amore. We got a recap of this week in wrestling with WWE SmackDown last night from London, England, the Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk WrestleMania 41 contract signing. You had Raw on Netflix this week from Scotland featuring John Cena wanting to ruin pro wrestling, NXT featuring Stephanie Vaquer defending both of her titles, AEW Dynamite featuring Swerve Strickland calling out John Moxley, Collision featuring slam dunk specials on Saturday and Sunday, ROH TV, as well as TNA Impact, and much, much more as we do here on a Saturday. And of course, to do that, I am joined by my esteemed colleague, my co-host here on the Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast. He is the true draw. Josh, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Just wanted to give a quick shout out. I have some merch here from Gamer Athletics. He's a content creator on YouTube. He does a lot of stuff for like Oakland and the Oakland community. Him, another brand called Last Dive Bar. They do a lot for the Oakland community, but also spreading awareness to letting everyone know how shitty the Oakland Athletics ownership is for leaving. And I appreciate everything that they do. Somebody from New York, being spoiled as a Yankee fan. It doesn't mean that I'm not a baseball fan first. So I understand what they're all going through. And, I want them to keep up the good work. They have all my support. And fuck John Fisher.
There you go. That's the way we're gonna start the show. We've had 2 F-bombs in 8 minutes. Usually we try to save that for like the deeper in the show, but we're off to a roaring start so far. But yes, we're here to discuss. You want to show off? Want to show your hat?
Ow!
Show me your hat. Show me your hat.
Ow! Ow! Ah!
Say hi.
What just happened?
I don't know. She came in here to show me her Yankee hat, but then didn't want to show it to any of y'all.
Yo.
We're off to
You can't play it both ways, so I'm gonna show your father. You gotta show us too.
Yeah.
You can't.
Exactly. They're gonna be like, what did you just see? I gotta show the people. You come on. She knows the deal. She's been on camera before, but all I got on today is a Cobra Kai shirt. I got this in Colchester the other day. I was like, I saw it. It was like £4 I was like, oh, I gotta get this. Cheap.
So what's 4 pounds over there equated to?
£4 is the equivalent, I think, of like $6.50.
$6.50 New York. New
Yes.
York. I said New York. USS.
He said New York in New York dollars. US dollars, yes.
Well, I mean, that is fair because New York shit is more expensive in New York too. So
that is true. I actually on the Q&A me and Jimmy Macaram did after AU Ramble got asked what's like the best and worst thing about being in the UK. I was like, UK is much cheaper, and I think I Make Beats was in the shed, and he was like, really? I never heard that. UK is usually expensive. I was like, first of all, I'm not in London. So I'm not in the city. I'm in the countryside. So everything is cheaper out here. Plus, I live in New York. So anywhere is cheaper than being in New York.
yeah, if it's not New York, not Cali, then yeah, pretty much.
There you go. There you go. But yes, we got a lot to discuss on today's Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast. We appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Show your appreciation back the simplest way possible is just drop the thumbs up on this video. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, you can sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you guys, hear your thoughts on the latest and greatest in pro wrestling as we discuss everything going on in the world of wrestling here on the Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast. WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, TNA, and New Japan Pro Wrestling, and everything in between. We try to break down all the big news, all the big shows from the past week. So appreciate y'all for joining us. We're a little bit early this week, starting at 10:05 a.m. Eastern time, but we usually start at 11:05 a.m. Eastern time every Saturday here. So sound off, if you will, and show your appreciation back. That's simple, a little bit of a not so simple way, but show your appreciation in the other ways. If you really want to show your support to the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, you can send a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here, and we always appreciate the support. We got Logan James in the chat joining us today. He says, hello, fans. Think CM Punk favors Heyman for a heel turn on Reigns. And if it happens, I'm not gonna be shocked. Obviously, Punk enter Cena versus Cody or challenge the winner after the match at WrestleMania 41. I keep seeing this, and we even had this in our chat yesterday. I don't get why people want to convolute the Cody and Cena thing. Let's not convolute Cody and Cena. Every year does not need a person winning one matchup to set up the main event on night 2. Let them just be the main event on night 1. And yes, the winner will probably be in position to get a shot at the winner of Cody and Cena, but you do not need to convolute Cody and Cena when they're already convoluting it enough.
Yeah, I did not like that at all. I don't like that idea. I just think it just sounds very Vince McMahon-esque kind of booking, and we don't need that for this. Cena and Cody are doing stuff fine on their own. Just to add that to another layer is very unnecessary. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't need it. I just don't. Just keep the triple threat. Whatever happens after WrestleMania, then you do it after WrestleMania. But to try to say, oh, Adam for Nate, it was like, no. Now you're doing the most, and you don't need to do that.
No, let's not do all of that, please. We got Bloody Money 47. Good to see you in the chat, good brother. Always appreciate seeing you on social media. So glad to see you in here today. He says CM Punk finally gets his WrestleMania main event moment. He was in tears last night hearing the news that he's in the WrestleMania main event. And I said it to everybody. I was like, that's the thing he wants the most. That's the thing he's been talking about more than the WWE Championship. I had people, after Punk did the promo on Monday, they were like, oh, yeah, he's talking about he's going to get a shot at the WWE Championship. That's what he wants in the contract. I was like, no, he wants the WrestleMania main event. That's his biggest goal. That's the reason he came back. He said it once. He said it twice. He said it 1,000,000 times. Why are we trying to convolute this thing more than it needs to? Right now, I think after last night's segment, which we're going to talk about from SmackDown, I would say Punk, Seth, and Roman is the best build to WrestleMania right now.
I agree. And anybody that's upset about it main eventing, got to get over it. Jay was not going to main event. And I get it. Royal Rumble winner, right? Royal Rumble winner needs to mean something. I totally understand people's points. However, we also got to see that Jay didn't win the Royal Rumble to main event WrestleMania. And that's been obvious.
And Jay did not win because he's over as fuck, because they've had many people who's been over as fuck and they didn't win the Royal Rumble.
I mean, we have LA Knight. He's been over as fuck and he mid-card as fuck. So I mean, you know, the whole thing with Jay is that he won it because they wanted to swerve people. They wanted to have a big surprise, which it worked. It was a big surprise. He's not what people. The reason why this discourse is so big is because Jay is a over mid carder, and it's okay to admit that, right? People, you know, there's certain people in their lanes, right? Certain people in their lanes, and you know, I'll get more into that because I have a great I told somebody like a comparison, and they're just like, "Oh my god, that's such a great comparison." So I'll bring it up when that time comes.
For sure. We got I Make Beats in the chat today. Good to see you, good sir. We got Call Me Mr. Bonda, another one of our members in the chat, saying Harlem heel turn question mark. Yes. Yes, she's turning heel. She doesn't want to be on camera for you people. We also got a super chat donation. Thank you so much. Chuck Berries with the chat. He says, "Good morning, THH fam. I'm actually happy for Punk, but I can't go without saying this. WWE is petty as fuck for pulling that broken glass skit. I'm just saying." I mean, I didn't really see it as them taking a shot at AEW. I know how a lot of people want it to be that, like always want to circumvent that it's a shot at AEW. It was funny having Punk walk by and look at Drew, because it was Drew McIntyre who shook hands with Jack Perry last year. That was funny. I will give them that. If you know, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
We also got Universal in the chat saying good morning. Good morning to you as well. It says it's not a real quote unquote main event match. It's a triple quote unquote triple threat match. Gunther deserves to be the main event on night one. This is political. I definitely disagree with that. I love Gunther. I think Gunther had the greatest intercontinental title run of all time. I think he is objectively the best in-ring worker in WWE today. But Universal, you are completely not acknowledging the fact that Triple H has booked his world title run like a mid-card title, and not even a great mid-card title reign like he did with the Intercontinental Championship. He's not faced any legit main eventers. They basically diminished and undervalued the World Heavyweight Championship. And like Josh said, he's facing an over mid-carder. The whole issue here, the old problem here that nobody seems to want to address what's the real deal here is that Triple H should have never had Jey Uso win the Royal Rumble. If you had no intention of him main eventing WrestleMania, he should not win the Royal Rumble. You should have had Punk win the Royal Rumble. You should have had Roman beat Gunther at Elimination Chamber for the World Heavyweight Championship. And then you could have done this three-way matchup as the World Heavyweight Championship matchup. And no one would be making a big deal about this getting the main event. Because these are the three biggest stars in WWE, not named Cody Rhodes and John Cena. This is the second biggest matchup on WrestleMania. Y'all just need to deal with it and understand that's the reality that we in. It's not politics. It is what it is. I was in the crowd last night in London. The people that got the biggest reactions were Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre. And the people that are actually facing each other are the first three. It's Roman, Seth, and Punk. That's just the reality, guys.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been saying it. We've been saying it for weeks. We didn't think that this was going to be the main event, and it has absolutely nothing to do with Jey Uso. You know, I've been very open of, hey, I don't mind Jey Uso winning, but I saw the issues, and I saw it the night after the Royal Rumble. I was like, there's big concerns, and the things that they've been doing have been been proven right. And it's like, you know, it's an unfortunate situation because it's not like it's one of those things where I'm bragging that, oh, you see, I was right, I told you so. It's just we kind of just knew what was where it was going, and the fact that basically Jay obviously is probably going to win over Gunther, that doesn't help Gunther's case at all. And that was the main problem that I was having. I was just like, you know, like, damn, so Gunther's gonna be fed to Jey Uso, and then it's just gonna solidify that he had one of the worst world heavyweight title reigns in recent history. I'm like, it's not a good thing. None of it was good, and the fact that the buildup went the way that it went, I mean, this man was facing lower tier guys. He's facing Austin Theory. He's facing Grayson Waller. When you're going up against Gunther, like, that doesn't help at all. Like, you know, Jay should have been beating like top guys. He probably should have been beating like a Drew McIntyre, like Sheamus. Sheamus hasn't been used, you know, and that kind of would have been proven like, oh shit, you know, things that you could have built Jay around. They're like, all right, he's beating credible names. Now he's ready for Gunther and he's ready to get that big win. Instead, he's been beating a bunch of mid-carders, and now you had the direction they went on Monday, where he's in his head. It's just bad.
Oh, well, we're gonna get into that.
It's bad.
Universal says those three do not need to be in the main event. It's not about not needing to be. This ain't a charity. This is the wrestling business. It's a business. You put the biggest stars in the main event of WrestleMania. It's not about, oh, you can get a main event of WrestleMania. You can get a main event of WrestleMania. If they had booked Gunther better, then yeah, he probably should be in the main event of WrestleMania. They did not. That's the reality that we're in. We got our third member of the team joining us, the princess of all the true heels, Miss Krssi Love. How are you doing?
Sorry. Hey, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. The internet didn't want me to be great today. I was ready, and fuck them. But anyway, hi, guys. What's happening? What did I miss? Looks like you're talking about the disaster that Jey Uso and Gunther have become.
We're talking about it all, but mainly the topic of at hand is Punk, Roman, and Seth getting the main event spot at WrestleMania. But we'll get into that more when we get through.
As they should.
SmackDown. Exactly. Big man.
Don't be mad. Get glad.
You didn't understand the context of what Josh said. He said on the way to winning, after he won the Royal Rumble, he did not beat Drew McIntyre. He beat Drew before he lost to Gunther before the Royal Rumble. That was how he got credibility to lose to Gunther at Saturday night's main event. After he won the Royal Rumble, he did not beat Drew. He did not beat Sheamus. That's what Josh said.
Yeah, like, you know, again, credible names. And, you know, Austin Theory, he's not a credible name. Like, let's call it like it is. The man faced John Cena 2 years ago. Nobody talks about it. Like, you know, and I mean, it's unfortunate. You know, Jay has worked hard. He's worked hard. Mm-hmm. And, you know, everything's unfortunate. Right. Everything's unfortunate, but it's a business at the end of the day. And right now, WrestleMania, ticket sales for WrestleMania, you know, they're not projected what they were last year. You know, they're about 10K, 20K out.
Yeah. And
you know,
and
it's just
it's multifaceted. That whole debate of it is you know, you could put it on the bill, but it's also they've overpriced WrestleMania this year.
I'm about to say yes.
No, they did too.
It's not even like, okay, do they not know that it's we're in a deficit right now? People are losing jobs. People are not making money like they used to, and your ticket prices for an event for 2 nights. It's like outrageous. Like, and how are people supposed to one fly? You have to fly out there. You know how much flights cost? Flights are not cheap anymore. This is not like during the pandemic where people were not flying. People are still traveling. Hotels are very expensive. Do you know how much then I still got to eat? What do you want me to eat? Oodles and noodles while I'm out on a damn trip? No. Like, and people are like, you want them to bring their kids to these things? Like, this shit costs money. Then don't forget all of the other shit that's happening before the show, after the show. All of this shit adds up, and people can't afford that. And they'll probably lie and say that this is sold out. It'll probably be sold out because they'll have to probably bring the tickets down or whatever. Okay, fine. Or they're going to just get seat fillers and just give tickets away at some point.
Yeah, no, but then also that would be kind of a failure on their end. Because
and I hope it is, because guess what? You should be trying to make something like this 2-day event, something that's so big as the Super Bowl. You should try to at least make it accommodating for people. Not everyone can afford. I mean, the usual people be sitting down on the floor as per usual that you see at every fucking show, which I'm sick of. But anywho, that's another thing.
But
No,
Krssi,
it's true.
You said the key thing though. They are trying to make it like the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, regular
that's the
people don't
problem.
go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Right,
Yeah,
you're right.
And that's
you're
the thing.
right.
You know,
Absolutely. People they don't let random people just can't go to the Super Bowl because those tickets are fucking expensive as well. Like you got to know someone to know someone to get those tickets. And
but then
you have
also
to
like
file.
but then also it's been proving what I've been saying for a while, where again, people got to remember that Endeavor purchased WWE, and by purchasing WWE, there's a certain market, there's a certain revenue that you have to hit to justify your purchase, and that's all it really does. It just confirms, like, they're trying to justify their investment. For any business, that's the case for any business. When you buy a business, right, you're trying to not only do new things, but you're trying to make your money back. And that's all it's really been for WWE. That's why they brag about, record gate, people bragging that they overpaid for tickets to be at the event. For WrestleMania is no different. WrestleMania is no different because even last year's WrestleMania, I mean, the prices weren't that great either. But compared to Vegas, I mean, that shit is ridiculous. And there was somebody on Twitter last night when I was like scrolling through. They said they canceled their hotel. This is the first time in like 10 years they're not going to WrestleMania because he's like, it's too much. The prices are way too much.
Wait, hold on, stop. So he had his hotel before he even had a ticket.
Yeah, and I was like, that's your fault.
Wait, hold on.
That's your fault.
RPGs is called Wrestling is Redneck Anime. I've never heard that before.
He said redneck anime. What the fuck? Yo. He said redneck anime.
That's perfect.
Shit. I don't even think anime's been this expensive itself. So
right. That part.
Yeah.
Call me Mr. Bonda with a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Call me Mr. Bonda, for the support. He says Sierra, Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, middle finger. Fuck Phil Brooks.
What Phil did now? Did Phil do something? Damn.
He's like, this should be Roman and Seth's main event, not CM Punk. He's like Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins.
I mean, I disagree, but
I'm about to say the same thing. I'm not mad at Phil being a part of this. These three men, they both have all history together, and it's a good story that's building up, and it gives Phil and Seth their main event time. Even though Seth has to now share it yet again for a second year in a row with other people.
Yeah,
but you're there, so it doesn't even matter.
Exactly. As long as you're there, why
your
you
wife did the same thing?
Main event again?
Your wife main event with two other people. One of those people shouldn't have been there, but however, she still did it.
And now technically, Seth has 3 main events at WrestleMania.
Really? What was the other one?
Yeah, remember the cash-in.
The Heist of the Century.
Oh.
Then the tag team matchup last year. The tag team matchup last year, and then this.
I mean, 2 and a possible. Let's do it like that, like spades.
Like spades.
You know what's funny? But you know what's funny though? That first WrestleMania main event, he still kind of shared it with Brock and Roman. So
that's what I'm saying.
He's never shared a WrestleMania main event with one person ever.
Right, and you kind of like stole their moment, kind of. So like, technically, you really wasn't even supposed to be there at that point. But like I said, 2 and a possible. Let's just count it like that.
And at least this time around, he's kind of the glue in this kind of thing that's going on. Exactly. So I 100% get it. Yeah, like I 100% get it. It's just one of those things where this is the event which I really did not oppose to. Like I was not against, and I've been saying it for weeks. I was like, yo, this is probably gonna be the main event for night 1. People got upset because I was just like, yo, what they're doing Jey Uso is not, it's not clicking. And last night just proved it. They had it in the storyline where they said you're going to be the main event of WrestleMania. Like, so
they already told us. Damn.
Yeah. But they always
Oh,
do. I told people, I was like, you're probably gonna know what the main event of WrestleMania is before WrestleMania. They usually tell you, like the last couple of years, they told you. I think it was like 2 weeks before they told us the Usos versus Kevin
Oh yeah,
Owens and
Kevin
Sami
Owens.
Zayn
Yes, yes.
were gonna
Yeah.
be the main event of night one. They 2 years ago they kind of told us that Austin was gonna come back and that was gonna be the main event of night one there. So they do this a lot the last couple of years. We
Banks
got,
and
Dion-
Banks and Bianca. They said it
Oh,
was
they
gonna
did
be,
that,
you know,
yeah.
like once
And that was
Yeah.
a pandemic.
yeah, once Sasha said it, and then they actually made it official. Like, so they have been saying it. The only year I remember where they kind of didn't really say shit was 33, because that's when we got the Roman versus Undertaker main event. They really didn't allude to anything, so we were kind of like, guys, what's gonna be the main event? You know, but they do usually say it, and then now, so I think they do have to promote it more, because again, you're trying to sell tickets and you want asses in seats, and this is kind of how you get asses in seats, because people want to go to say, hey, what's going to close out the show? People do still care about that, so you do kind of have to promote that. And I thought last night the way they did it, I was in favor of it. You know, made it clear, made it, confirm, hey, this is going to be the main event. Again, I know people were upset about it, but, you'll get over it once you watch the show. Like
Seth and what's the name opened last year. If you can't be a closer, I would like to set the trend to be. I mean, he's gonna yeet, and
it's still a good spot. The opening is still a good spot.
You're gonna eat. You're gonna start. You're gonna set the tone, and everyone's gonna be yeeting their asses off. Pat McAfee and God bless Michael Cole for still being offbeat, but still, nevertheless, they're gonna get it. They're gonna be yeeting for the begin, like for at least 30 minutes.
Yeah, and you get like the stench out, because a lot of those fans are not gonna wear deodorant, so then you just get that out of the way first when they do it.
We got Dion Jenkins with super chat donation.
On here, I swear.
he said show looked good last night, but I only saw clips. Well, we're gonna get into it. Don't you worry.
Let me know what happened.
Before that, we got our Tru Heel roll call, how we start off every edition of our flagship podcast, shouting out you who support us across social media as well as our Patreon. Our top 3 conversation starters on our Tru Heels group page on Facebook is Mike Law, number 2, Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting, and number 1, Stewie John Palmer. Our Patreon backers, you got Vala B, ALW, Negro Bucknick Jackson, Alex McCarthy, Professor Chris, Trey, Robert, Steve, Ladarius, Dan, Kobe, Dolores, John Martin, DJ Eric, James, Allen, and Santo. Thank you so much for supporting us over at patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content, the best way to support us when we are not live here. But without further ado, let's get into what we missed. As last night I was in London, England, my first time in the O2 Arena, and it was a packed house in the O2. Alex McCarthy.
Oh, cute. Okay.
Alex McCarthy was sitting next to me, and he said he hasn't seen it this packed in a very long time. He said usually the upper decks are turfed off, but this was a sellout for sure, as WWE SmackDown was in London, England, and it featured and was highlighted by the main event segment, which was Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk signing the contract for their WrestleMania 41 matchup, and it was Paul Heyman who revealed to Punk that he would be headlining WrestleMania for the first time, which brought CM Punk to tears after Heyman embraced him. Rollins became irate, saying that Punk didn't deserve to main event, but Roman wanted Punk to thank him for being in the WrestleMania main event. Punk reminded Reigns that this was not the favor that Heyman owes him to close the show, which give us a little cliffhanger for this 3-way bout. But we'll talk more about this as well as the decision to make this the main event shortly here. But what else happened on the show? You had the undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes opened up the show to a huge pop and ovation and singing from the London crowd after going over what happened between him and John Cena on Monday Night Raw and their face-to-face showdown coming up in London, England this Monday on Raw. Cody was interrupted by Randy Orton, who praised Rhodes for leaving, changing the business, and then taking the business to new heights by returning to WWE. Orton then told Cody to beat Cena's ass at WrestleMania, but he said that he's coming for number 15 after he kicks Kevin Owens' head off at Mania. Drew McIntyre then interrupted to insult both men and said that he would beat up Timu, Guyliner, Undertaker, talking about Damian Priest. Cody and Orton beat up McIntyre before he escaped, but this led to McIntyre defeating Randy Orton later in the show after a distraction from Kevin Owens. Post-match, Owens tried to attack Orton, but Randy got the better of him and went for the punt kick before Owens ran off through the crowd. Later, we saw Drew McIntyre celebrating his victory until Damian Priest attacked him in the parking lot, leading to him delivering the South of Heaven chokeslam on McIntyre on the top of a car windshield. It's real glass, cry me a river. Naomi cut another tearful pre-tape promo where she expressed her frustration with Bianca Belair not seeing everything that she's done for her and feeling underappreciated, and calling out Jade Cargill. After showing their support to Jade Cargill backstage, Naomi jumped both Michin and B-Fab until Cargill was able to run her off to make the save. As she was walking to the back, out came Charlotte Flair, who had a one-on-one matchup with Michin where she picked up the victory with the figure 8. Post-match, you had Tiffany Stratton cut a promo saying that she has nothing to lose at Mania, while Flair might lose to an undeserving rookie clone, as Charlotte called her last week. Jimmy Uso picked up a victory over The Miz ahead of his showdown with World Heavyweight Champion Gunther on Monday Night Raw. The Street Profits beat Pretty Deadly in a good matchup to retain the WWE Tag Team Championships, while LA Knight and Braun Strowman went to a no contest after Jacob Fatu interfered to lay out both men with multiple double jump moonsaults onto Braun Strowman and a tease of a last man standing match between those two. And finally, you had Rey Fenix was officially announced as the latest new star on SmackDown to debut next week on Friday Night SmackDown. So that should be a highly anticipated debut for sure. But the big talk coming out of SmackDown is that final segment, like we talked about to open up the show. So my question to you, I'll start with you, Miss Krssi Love. Does CM Punk versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins deserve to be the main event of WrestleMania?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. They are the top. They are the top 3 stars of this organization. First of all, we have a bunch of stars. We have at least 10 to 12 people that can definitely be the top that are top stars. Let's just start off right there. It's so saturated, and everyone can always main event. However, Roman Reigns is that person that will, he has the caliber to do this. But yes, they should. They have the storyline to do so. The girls are not. They didn't do anything with the girls, so we could just cut this. It's like process of elimination at this point. We're playing a game. We're cutting the girls. The girls are number 5 for probably both nights, or number 2 to 3. It's just what it is. That's what they did with the girls. Unfortunately, sorry. Then we have Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. Never. Sorry. Go sit down somewhere. Gunther, sorry, you're the champ, but yes, both, the main champ, Cody, he's gonna do night 2. So these guys deserve it. They have the story, they have the build-up, they have everything around it. These 3 supporting actors are going to kill. So yes, they deserve it.
Yeah, like you said, it's a process of elimination that I think people are not really like focused on. Like they
Are
want to
people
say,
mad
"Oh
about
man,
this?
yeah, there was we saw plenty. We were sharing it in our group chat last night." But you have two Royal Rumble winners, and of course the Royal Rumble
Yeah.
by design is supposed to be the main event of WrestleMania. But you have Charlotte Flair, who won the Royal Rumble, facing Tiffany Stratton, and it's by far one of the worst build-ups to a world
They thought
title
that was
match
gonna main
in
event.
WrestleMania
I
history.
wish they would have. I wish they would have. I mean,
We saw
terrible.
someone who put that in a very angrily written out tweet that, oh, Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton on man. I was like, are we serious? This is one of
Of
the
all
worst
people,
builds
that's
ever.
right. I'm about to say, of anything, give it to. I would have given it to Gunther and Jay before I would have gave it to those two ladies. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like Gunther and Jay is the only thing that they can hang their hat on is that they're not the worst build to WrestleMania,
Right,
because
and I
Tiffany
mean,
Stratton and Charlotte Flair is the worst built matchup going into WrestleMania. But Jay
hell,
and
Jaden.
Gunther have
I'm about to
been
say, Jaden and Naomi are even better than those two.
100%.
And they don't even have a title. And they got more of a story though. Like, let's I'm sorry to cut you off, SP, but like let's just be honest at this point. Like, I think people are grasping for straws and they just want their favorites to main event this fucking 2-night shit. You know
Yeah.
how many other pay-per-views we got to deal with before this one? Like, do SummerSlam. I don't know, build better. Tell Paul to do better. And Bruce
Exactly.
Pritchard.
That's what it's all about. Like
I'm
Jay
so
and
sick of, I'm so
Gunther,
sick of these people. This is white people
would
problems. I'm sorry.
Jay and Gunther should be a better story, but it's just not. It's just not. They are
It's really
literally
not.
building a story that Jay Uso is a bad wrestler because he's in his head. He's mentally stressed. Oh my God, can he do it? It's building up the pressure for him. But no one's buying this. No
Oh,
one is
please.
buying
Oh,
this as a
please.
WrestleMania main event because they
Cry
have
me a
positioned
river.
they have devalued the World Heavyweight Championship. They
Yes.
devalued
Yes.
the WrestleMania main
Yes.
event. And like me and
Yes.
Josh said earlier, he shouldn't have won the Royal Rumble if this was the case. If Triple H had no
Yes.
intention
He did.
of
Yep.
having this
Yep.
man headline WrestleMania, he should have never won the Royal Rumble in the first place. And it's the buck starts and stops with Triple H. Triple H booked this to be a mid-card title match, and that's what it is right now. So that did not have any chance of building up to WrestleMania. The one that had the best argument against Punk and Cena, Punk Seth and Roman was the women's triple threat for the World Heavyweight Championship. But guess what? They haven't booked that well either. If you watch Monday, they're saying the same shit they've been saying for a month now. And Rhea Ripley, who was one of the biggest badasses, gets one of the biggest reactions of anyone on this roster, regardless of gender, has been booked as a whiny baby over the last couple of weeks. Bianca Belair, who's making valid points, is getting booed now, and then looks like a dummy because she didn't listen to what Adam Pearce said on Monday Night Raw and was asking him the same question he already answered. And then Io Sky has been undervalued and underappreciated and disrespected by the other two women. So like they have not booked that rivalry well. They have just, and it's very haphazardly and convoluted that they're going around to making this a triple threat instead of just going the straight and narrow. Rhea's got a rematch clause, put her in the matchup. It could have been very simple and you could have built this to be a triple threat matchup. But as of now, 3 weeks away from WrestleMania, we don't know if it's a triple threat matchup or not. We know, but they haven't announced it yet. So this is the one that we know what the match is going to be. It's the only issue that people have is that it's not for a world title. Well, guess what? It should have been for a world title.
Yep.
What about you, Josh? What do you think about Punk, Seth, and Roman being the WrestleMania main event night one?
I mean, like I said, I'm fine with it because this is what I've been saying for weeks. Like I said before, I wrote it on social media, right? I made a post on social media. I think it was either on Instagram or my Facebook, where I was like, you know, the stuff that they're doing with Seth, Punk and Roman is probably going to be the main event because I'm like, it's a better storyline. They're doing more with that. And then I brought up the fact that, like the way that they've been using Jey Uso and building that up, I was like, it just feels mid-card as fuck. And I remember some people were trying to like dispute that. They were trying to argue that. But then it's like, they were trying to use the fact that he won the Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, it don't matter at this point. I was like, he won the Royal Rumble, yeah, but I'm like, look at the fucking build-up. Like, it's not great. And if you want to use the whole thing with Cody Rhodes of him winning the Rumble and him main eventing, that was a better storyline. That was better, and then he was facing Roman Reigns. The fuck do you expect? They weren't going to open the show. And, like I said, I mean, it's very unfortunate for Jey because this is not something that I'm against Jey. Like, do I think he's the greatest wrestler? No. Like, I can see his flaws. And this is the one thing that I know. I was kind of scared of because I was just like, you sure this is the guy you want to win the Royal Rumble? And again, it got kind of proven true. And, again, like, it's unfortunate. And the comparison that I used last night, right? I used it with, I compared it to Quantumania, right? Where Ant-Man, right? Because I said Jey is like Ant-Man. I was like, he's very favorable, right? People like him. He's popular, but he's not what Captain America is. He's not what Iron Man is, right? But the reason why I'm bringing up Quantumania is because, when they had Kang the Conqueror involved, he was going to be the next Thanos in line. He was going to be the next guy to take over the multiverse and all that stuff that they're doing now with this big phase that they're doing. And in Quantumania, Ant-Man beats Kang. And people were pissed off about it. They're like, why is this man the one beating your top villain? Why is this guy? Why did you have that in the storyline? And that's kind of what's been going on with Jey. It's like now you having him going to beat the world champion. He's going to be champion. People are not happy about it. Again, Jey is very popular. Jey is very popular. Jey is over, which I 100% agree. But then there's certain people who are just like, like sometimes it's one of those things where it's like, people are in certain lanes for a certain reason. Mm-hmm. Jey is in a certain lane for a certain reason. And he's just not that top tier guy. He's not Cody. He's not Roman. Sometimes it's okay to admit that, right? Sometimes people are mid-cards. They're meant to be mid-cards. And, that's just where the career goes. Jey, he's put in the work. But what we've seen is not what, it's not main event quality. And, and people do say, they try to use the whole thing with WWE of, oh, match quality doesn't matter and all this stuff. But then I'm like, it kind of does. And that's why I always fall back. I'm like, hey, you need to be great in the ring to make up for some of your things. And just because you're popular and you sell merch, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do in the ring, then you're probably going to fumble because we've seen so many guys who gotten over in characters, but then they kind of fizzle out because they're just not that person.
This nigga should be happy to even be in this particular place right now. Because last year you had one of the worst matches. So look at you right now. It don't matter if you just be happy that you're on the fucking card. Your brother's not on the card.
Oh shit! Damn!
Oh shit!
I'm sorry. Did I say something wrong?
She said, yes, you're getting crumbs, and you be happy about it.
You should be. Hell yeah, shit. Be happy. Some people don't even get on the fucking show. No matter what your damn placement, just do your fucking job and make sure that looks good. Then shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And that's why I said Jey is happy with what he's got. Like that's why he came out and said like it doesn't matter where I'm gonna be on the card because he knew he wasn't gonna main event WrestleMania. Like he's happy with just being in the World Heavyweight Championship match.
Oh, and then also they said he just described John Cena. Honestly, John Cena was better than Jey Uso. Even when people were talking about like 5 moves of doom, John Cena was better than Jey Uso at this point. So I mean, I'm just calling it like it is. And it has nothing to do with, like Jey, right? You can have less moves, right, in the ring, right? You can have less moves, and that's fine. But the thing is that sometimes you just need, like, the problem with Jay is that he doesn't have that middle portion that you need to make the match interesting. He doesn't have that. Yeah, he doesn't have that. He has like a hot start and then like maybe like a good finish, but he doesn't have the middle part that is like, it makes it interesting. Fucking 5 or 6 super kicks is not a good sequence in a row. Like, and we've seen that constantly with Jay.
Yep. We got Logan James who says Io Sky and Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair is a great match than Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk in WrestleMania 41. And I won't deny that it will probably be the better match, Logan. The issue is it's not the better story. The better story is Roman, Seth, and Punk. It's just that simple.
All these 3 girls are powerhouses. Why they didn't book them like that?
Yeah.
They're powerhouses.
And it's like,
They
it's like last year with Bayley. It's like last year with Bayley and Io.
Right.
Bayley and Io had one of the best matches last year, but the reason why it fell off the way that they mean, like as in like build-up wise, was because they kind of pulled the trigger too early with the turn, with the team turning on Bayley. Yep. But then also they didn't treat Bayley great. Let's just call it like it is. She wasn't even in advertisement, posters, or nothing.
Yep.
For WrestleMania. So like that plays a part too. You know, both ladies had a great match, and it ended up being one of the best matches of the weekend, right? Because I think it was even a high-rated match. But again, WrestleMania is all about the build-up as well. And if you just don't have good stories going in, good build-ups, then you're just going to fall on the card. You're going to be placing the card where it probably feels like you're deserving of. And it's unfortunate, but it happens. It's a business at the end of the day.
Yeah. The business.
And when it comes to WrestleMania main event, it's not about choosing what you think is going to be the best matchup. With WWE, with the WrestleMania main event, it's about who the biggest stars are and what's the best story. And at the end of the day, that's Roman, Punk, and Seth, no matter what y'all think. No matter what you think, I love Io Sky. I think she's one of the best wrestlers in the world right now, regardless of gender. I think that Rhea Ripley is one of the biggest stars in pro wrestling, regardless of gender. Bianca Belair is one of the best overall performers over the last 5 to 6 years in WWE. They are going to probably have the much better matchup than Roman, Seth, and Punk. But the story leading up so far, 3 weeks left before WrestleMania, what's the better build-up? It's Punk, Roman, and Seth. It's just that simple to me. Speaking of which, we got a couple of matches that have been announced for WrestleMania. So I thought it would be fun to follow up from last week where we talked about what we thought was wrong, why it isn't clicking, the WrestleMania buildup. And I want to give all of us the opportunity to rank how we feel about the matches that are currently scheduled and what we think is the best build to the worst build to WrestleMania so far. So, like I said, I think Roman, Punk, and Seth is number 1. Mm-hmm. Then I'll go, even though I'll go into what I didn't like about the this week's Monday Night Raw with them, but still Cody and Cena is number 2 for me. Then I would go. Even though I've addressed the issues here, but Rhea, Io, and Bianca is number 3. Then I'll go Randy and Kevin Owens, which I think out of all of the 4 that I've listed, mm-hmm. I have the least amount of problems with Orton and Owens, but I don't feel as strongly about that as much as I do the other 3 matches. I don't know if that makes sense to y'all. Like, I don't have a lot of issues with it, but I don't feel strongly about it like I do with the other 3 matches.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like having like a utility player. Like, you're comfortable with using him because you know what he could do. He's just not that guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I kind of get that because there's really no issues with Orton and KO. It's just, you know what it is. It's just it's a grudge match. That's just what it is. Yeah. It's a mid-card grudge match, and you're not going to get really the high attention off of that, regardless.
Yeah. So that's 4 for me. Then I would go now. I'm sorry. We only have 2 other matches that have been made official, but now I'm just going to be naming the matches that I think are going to happen because I don't want to put those 2 next. So I would then go. Drew and Damian Priest, which is kind of like how I feel about Orton and Kevin Owens, except Orton and Kevin Owens is a lot more interesting than Drew and Damian Priest. Then I would go Logan Paul and AJ Styles, which is kind of like all three of those matches are kind of in the same boat of they're just upper mid card type matches. Then I would go the Intercontinental title match, whatever they're gonna do, but at least they're putting a focus on that over the last couple of weeks, putting it in the main event for the Intercontinental Championship. Then finally, I will go to the other two matches announced. Then I would put Jay and Gunther, and then finally Tiffany and Charlotte is the worst.
Wait, okay. Did you put Jane Gunther at like number 9?
I put it at 8. I named 9 matches, and that's 8, and 9 is the Gunther, Jay and Gunther, and then Tiffany and Charlotte.
You're not exactly wrong.
Nope.
You're not exactly wrong. I actually kind of agree with that list, to be honest with you. Because it's the way that I've been feeling. And if people want to dispute the whole Jay and Gunther build up, the reason why that's probably lower is because that has a higher standard compared to the other match, the other matches.
I put AJ and Logan down there too.
You know, and it's one of those things again where, right, Jay won the Royal Rumble, Gunther's a champion, but then it's kind of like if you take out the World Heavyweight Championship, is it a good feud? No, it's not a good feud going on. So I get it because that's a higher standard. You kind of, you know, regardless of what people want to say about that. And I mean, Charlotte and Tiffany, I mean, oh God, I mean, we've been saying it since the start, you know. I think what hurt it, again, what hurt the match itself or like anything was the fact that they wanted Charlotte to be babyface. They got the crowd reaction that they got, and they changed course. So now Tiffany is in a situation where she's like trying to figure out how to be a babyface because she's clearly not good at it. And everything that's been doing hasn't meshed well. Like, you know, everything they've been doing hasn't meshed well. They had that stupid brawl that did nothing for me. I thought they overdid it. Still didn't do nothing for me. And then last week you had that debacle of a freaking interview that happened. And then this week was kind of like, it's not the worst, but didn't do nothing for me. So I can see why that's ranked the worst. And, you know, if Romeo has a problem with it, then he could just go argue with his mama.
All right, one final question before we move on to some news. Krssi, love for you. Do you think, though, you know, we all agree that probably Roman, Seth, and Punk should be and deserve to be the WrestleMania main event, but does that decision by Triple H devalue the Royal Rumble winners? Because this will be the first time since the 2 nights of WrestleMania that the Royal Rumble winner is not main eventing either night.
Wow. You mean as far as the men? Because Bailey didn't main event, so
well, no Royal Rumble winner. 36 Drew main evented. He won the Royal Rumble. 37 Bianca Belair won the Royal Rumble and she was in the main event, and Edge won the Royal Rumble and he was in the main event. 2022 Brock Lesnar won the Royal Rumble and he main evented night 2. 2023 Cody Rhodes won the WrestleMania main event and he was in the he won the Royal Rumble and he was in the WrestleMania main event. 40 he won the Royal Rumble again and he was in the WrestleMania main event. This is the first year that women or men's Royal Rumble winner will not be in the main event of either night of WrestleMania. And they've had at least one Royal Rumble winner main event at least one night of WrestleMania since it became 2 nights.
Okay.
This will be the first time since 2018 WrestleMania 34 when WrestleMania 34 was the last time that neither Royal Rumble winner main evented a WrestleMania.
I don't think it disvalues the winner. It just so happens that it's unfortunate how they built it. You still get that accolade, you still get that niche that you won for that year. So I don't think it discredits the person. It's just the fault of the people that did the build up behind them. It's their fault, not the person that won. I don't think it should devalue that person for getting that accolade.
That's a good way to put it. What about you, Josh? What do you think?
I don't think it does yet. And I'm saying yet because, again, like you said, this is the first time in a while that it's not main eventing. So they had a good stretch of how they were still using the Royal Rumble winners. So I think if it becomes a norm, like if somebody, like next year, if somebody wins and none of them main event again, then I think then it's kind of like shit. Now winning the Royal Rumble don't mean shit. So far, I don't think it does yet, but I kind of wouldn't blame people if they feel that way in a sense, just because, again, WWE put that thought in your head where, hey, the Royal Rumble winner, it means something, right? So that's kind of on WWE if that's the case, right? They put that thought in your head and they didn't get what they wanted. Shit happens.
That's a good point. We got 2 super chat donations here from our good brother Dion Jenkins. Thank you so much, Dion, for the support. He says, first, people are being dense when others say they didn't like the Cena promo. They're like, you're not supposed to like it, or you're the exact people Cena was talking about. It's never enough for y'all. And then he follows up with a second super chat donation. Thank you once again. He says, no, we mean that it's not that entertaining and the story isn't connecting. They're trying to gaslight us or parroting the company lines. Yeah, I said it. I know there was people that didn't like the promo in Brussels last week. I thought the promo in Brussels was really great. You people promo, but it was because I was willing to give him a week. I was like, this is his first promo. He wanted to address the fans, why he turned on the fans. But then I was like, this week we needed some answers. And no, he didn't really give us the answer. He just gave us a mission statement for why he wants to win number 17. That has nothing to do with Cody.
With the
has
turn,
nothing
yeah.
to do with The Rock. Has nothing to do with his heel turn. The whole heel turn was special because we all thought, hey, this is John Cena becoming heel for the first time in 20 years. Then he cuts a 10-minute promo where he tells us he's been heel for 25 years. Like, what?
That's a book. Yeah, it's lies.
Yeah,
Like, we don't believe you.
yeah. I mean, in regards to that, like I compared it to Jaws 1 and 2, where Jaws, the first Jaws movie, is such a classic. And part 2 wasn't a bad movie, but it was kind of just like same thing as the first one. So you're not getting anything new, and you're not getting anything big. With John Cena's first promo, it was good, but the only thing that was missing was the explanation. And then this past week, we just didn't get that again. But then it was kind of like, bro, you kind of just did the same shit that you did the prior week. What the fuck, bro? Like, come on. What are you doing? It was kind of the same layout. Cody comes out. John didn't say nothing, just laughed. It was just like, it was like a direct copy of what just happened.
I agree. Thank you so much, Dion, for those super chat donations. Appreciate y'all. Always appreciate y'all support in the chat. But let's get into a little bit of news as well. We had, according to a report by our WrestleVotes, the all-women's WWE Premium Live event, WWE Evolution, is expected to make its long-awaited return later this year. WWE is reportedly planning to bring back Evolution as a premium live event later this summer. WrestleVotes reports, after speaking with sources, we can confirm WWE is set to bring back the highly anticipated Evolution PLE this summer. The return of the all-women's event is expected to be officially announced before WrestleMania. Credit to Corey Haynes, who had heard rumblings of this rumor weeks back. WWE held the first ever Evolution and only Evolution event on October 18, 2018 at the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, New York. It was headlined by Ronda Rousey defending the Raw Women's Championship against Nikki Bella. Becky Lynch also defended her SmackDown Women's title against Charlotte Flair in a last woman standing matchup. While there was apparent talk of Evolution becoming an annual event, it's yet to happen again. WWE has not yet announced the official return of the all-women premium live event. Having those notes, it made me realize, I was like, we were literally having the same debate even back then of, oh, why is not the better matchup Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair headlining the event? And I was saying the same thing on this podcast. What was that? 7 years ago, I was like, because Ronda Rousey and Nikki Bella are the bigger stars. That's why they're main event. And some things change and some things don't change with WWE. The bigger stars are always going to main event. Krssi Love, what do you think about Evolution making its return? And does that get you excited for this coming summer? And what would you like to see at the event?
First of all, I just saw the graphic. I never realized that Athena and what's the name is at the top of the I never realized that they was up there like that. But anywho, nevertheless, I'm excited. I hope the show is great. The first one was cool. I think this one could be better now that we've built up more powerful ladies and we have bigger stars now. And now we have the whole crossover thing with like the other girls from like TNA can come. We have the NXT girls, so we can definitely have a better show than the first one for sure. Will I go? Probably not, so. But if it's not here, I ain't going.
Yeah, I can understand that. I think that it can be an even better card than the last one. I think the last one they had to get like Trish and Lita. They had to do the whole angle with the Bella twins and Ronda Rousey. Now they have a roster where they can just do it. They can just go ahead and do it. You can, like you said, get some of the NXT ladies, get your Julias, get your Stephanie Vaquers on there, your Sol Rucas, your Roxanne Perez's, Jada Parker on there.
Legend
TNA, and get Masha Slamovich on the show as well. Get your WWE ID people if you want. Like there is so much talent under the WWE umbrella.
Oh no, that means they're gonna invite Chessa Blanchard. Oh my god.
I would hope not.
I hope they don't, but she's over at TNA, so I don't know. But if you do,
they support that stuff, so I think she's probably gonna be on.
Stand up for Tessa, right?
No.
That's WWE.
No.
What do you think about the return of
I'd rather eat a brick than stand up for Tessa. So I don't know, that ain't gonna happen.
And I can't even say I won't pay for it or watch it because I got Peacock, so it's already fucking there. Technically, I wouldn't even spend my money on that shit. But what? It's already spent.
I mean, it's cool that it's coming back, but then it's like, damn, it took 7 years for it to come back.
That's just what they.
But they have more options now. You have Julia, you have Stephanie, you have Jordan. So you have more options. It's just with this card, if it's an all women's event, please don't make it a 5-match premium event because.
Oh, please. I didn't even think of that. Think of that. Oh, shit.
That would be a whole waste of a whole show.
That would be a waste if it was 5 matches.
This match card, for a showcase like this needs at least maybe 8 matches, 9. I would say 7.
I would say at least 7. We got to be modest. Modest.
I mean, I'll be modest, but then also it's just one of those things where it's just like if you want as many women,
7, you add 2 more.
Yeah, like
really?
if you want women, if you want women to be showcased, I think usually for me a 9-card show is usually good because working in the independent scenes. Usually a 9-card show is a good show. Anything sometimes you go over that, then it becomes too much. But for a show like this, you have to showcase, the women, you want to showcase them. 5 matches is not enough. And I just hope they be mindful of that. Again, the first show was great. The first show was better than I expected it to be. They kind of went like the NXT takeover route when it comes to production. You kind of make it like that. I think it could be a good show.
All right, so we can all name one match we would like to see at Evolution. I will start it off. WWE Women's World Champion Bianca Belair defending against Jade Cargill at Evolution this summer. I'm calling for that. Krssi, what would be your one match?
Stephanie Vaquer versus Rhea Ripley.
Ooh, I would love that. Sign me up for that. Josh?
Julia versus Becky Lynch.
I like it.
I like it. I like it. I would have said Julia versus Io Sky, but Becky Lynch, that's not bad either. That's not bad either.
I'm not mad at the Io Sky either. I thought one of you guys would have said Io.
We got Io versus Vaquer on there by I Make Beats. We got Senior Nerd. He says a match that will never happen, but Roxy versus AJ Lee. I mean, I got
pal. Like, don't even use that.
That's what we asked. We asked for fantasy booking. That's a good one. That's a good one.
I like that one actually.
Yeah, probably like that
could happen.
But that's like fantasy.
Because Roxy is definitely like a little AJ Lee.
But one that could happen now is we're going to talk about it later. Is Paige versus Roxanne Perez. I'll go with that.
Oh my! Oh yeah, because she's not at what's the name no more. So she's coming back home.
That's if she gets cleared too. That's if she gets cleared. Because I remember.
They're gonna book her horrible over here too. I don't even have no
that's if she even gets, because remember that was the main reason why she left WWE in the first place, because she wasn't cleared. So that's gonna be interesting. She didn't come back to do the same stuff, like being like more of an ambassador. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, we got I got a new list, guys, on Sports Illustrated that will segue us into our next news piece, but I wanted to share it with everyone here if you haven't checked it out already. SI.com. I did the 10 best WWE matches of all time. So this thing is not working for me now. Let me share this though. Let me try my best to share this. Oh, my screen sharing. I have to share it. Saying I have to share the screen. Oh, it's saying screen sharing was canceled. Why was it canceled? Okay, press share. There we go. All right, so I can share it with y'all now, and we can go through it, and I can hear Krssi Love and Josh's thoughts as well as all of y'all. But okay, there it is. I was like, where is this thing? This thing is my computer. This computer takes so slow for me, even though I look better on it. It's not as grainy as my other computer was. But let's share it here with us on screen. I'll wait because, like I said, this computer is going way slower now that I'm sharing the screen. Can y'all see it?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. Now I can see it. All right. These are the 10 best WWE matches of all time. That was I dropped it, I think it was last week on sportsillustrated.com. So the 10 best WWE matches. Here's the criteria for everyone. It is based on the in-ring action, storytelling, importance, basically how important it is to the legacy, to the history of WWE, the impact the match had on the company, overall quality, which means takes into all the factors that make a great matchup, and the legacy of these bouts. So coming in at number 10, we have Walter, aka Gunther, versus Ilya Dragunov from NXT UK from the October 29th, 2020 episode. This is the empty arena matchup, one of the most physical and violent matches in WWE history. Do y'all have any thoughts, any objections on that one making the list?
Nope.
It's a great match.
Fantastic match. I rewatched a lot of these matches for this list too, so it's in my memory now. Number 9, what I call the greatest women's match in WWE history: Bayley versus Sasha Banks from WWE NXT Takeover Brooklyn back in 2015. Really, the match that was kind of significant for the Four Horsewomen coming up to the upper echelon of WWE, because I believe this was the same weekend that Charlotte, Becky, and Sasha made their debut at Summer, or made their main roster kind of SummerSlam debut. So yeah, that one right there where Bayley became the NXT Women's Champion. Number 8, we have Edge and Christian versus the Hardy Boys versus the Dudley Boys, TLC 2 from WWF WrestleMania 17. Number 7 on our list here, we have the most recent match that made the list: Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns from WWE WrestleMania 40 Night 2. Of course, this is Cody finishing his story, the culmination of the Bloodline saga and the end of Roman Reigns' 1,300-day plus reign. Then we have number 6, another WrestleMania main event, but going back to 2001, the famous My Way promo right up top. You got Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock from WrestleMania 17 once again. Then we got the top 5 here. Top 5 coming in at number 5, Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels from WWE WrestleMania 21, the dream match of two of the greatest of their generation. WWE, you suck at doing lists, so you have this below some matches that it shouldn't have been below. This is one of the greatest WWE matches. Just wanted to add that too. Number 4 on the list, CM Punk versus John Cena from WWE Money in the Bank 2011. This is the summer of Punk. Punk winning in Chicago, blowing the kiss to Vince McMahon as he captured the WWE Championship for the first time. Then we got number 3 on the list, The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels from WWE WrestleMania 25. This was the dream match, the heaven versus hell matchup of Mr. WrestleMania versus The Streak for the first time. Then we got some familiar names at number 2, because it's the same as number 3. Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, this time the first ever Hell in a Cell matchup from WWF In Your House Bad Blood 1997. The reason why the Hell in a Cell became the stipulation for WWE was the first match was an absolute masterpiece, but it doesn't get the number 1 spot, because the number 1 spot goes to Bret the Hitman Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, the submission match from WWF WrestleMania 13. Austin turning babyface, Bret Hart turning heel, the double turn to end all double turns. And this one is an absolute masterclass by both of these guys. It's a timeless bout. You can watch it now and it's still as great as when it happened in 1997. And yes, any thoughts on that top 10 list? Krssi Love, Josh, what do you think?
I agree with the list. You're always gonna sell me with you're always gonna get me with Bret versus Austin, because that's always been my favorite match at WrestleMania. When people ask me, "Oh, what's your favorite? What's your favorite match at WrestleMania?" It's always been Austin and Bret, and I remember watching that as a kid live, and even that iconic picture with him bleeding and him screaming in pain, like you still see that to this day. Like that's an image that you will always recognize. You always remember when it happened, the match, the night, all that stuff. So I agree with that being number 1. And also I kind of want to point out, because I remember a couple years ago with Top Guy legit tried to have a debate with me about the Hell in a Cell match between Bayley and Sasha being their best match, and I disputed that, and I said no, it's their takeover match. This list proves me right.
Yeah. He's like, I was right, top guy. I was right. Krssi Love, any thoughts from you?
I'm not mad at the list at all. Honorable mention, I think the only one that's probably missing is Owen Hart and Bret Hart's match from WrestleMania 10. But nevertheless,
That's why I should have scrolled down a little bit further so you could see the honorable mentions.
okay.
Let me scroll down
Oh,
for
is
you.
that there?
Yeah, and it's kind of hard because, like, for me,
yes,
it's like Brett.
Yes,
it's like Brett versus Owen. Yeah, for me, it's Brett versus Owen, or even Macho Man versus Steamboat. I would say,
Yeah.
because that was also a great match as well.
Yeah.
So I think, but I think the list for
The list
for
is
what
pretty
it is,
solid. I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, and even having Cody versus Roman, I know there was a big dispute on that in the chat about Cody versus Roman and what it meant and all this stuff. It was a great match too. It was a great match, and then it had all the stuff that it got added with all these fools coming out, and then Cody ended up winning anyway. So I mean, overall, I thought it was it's a good list. The list took out SP3.
He lost him. Yep, took him out of the stratosphere. I mean, anyone can make a list. It's it's from to the opinion from a lot of people, and it's just like, how can you make your argument? That's really what these lists are. Tell me why you believe that these are these matches, and he gave you a pinpoint on like all of the bullets on why he believes like these are the top matches of all time, and they're not all from like WrestleMania. They're all from like different caliber of matches and events, and I think he succeeded. Like I said, honorable mention to that particular match because I feel like that match kind of like let you see why pro wrestling is amazing, and you have these two brothers going at it and like made it essentially. I think he's coming back now, so yeah, so I'm not mad at his list at all.
Yeah, I agree.
There he is.
That I told you, sharing that screen was totally fucking up my internet. I saw nothing but the Tru Heel Heat background. That's all I saw for a good like 5 minutes. So I was like, okay, let me just get out and then come back in. But yes, thank you guys. I wanted to see y'all opinions on the list there. We got a couple of comments that we can get through here as well. We got Myron Kidd, who says top 10 WWE pay-per-views or PLEs of all time coming soon. That might be one coming. I'll definitely put it out there to my editor to see if he wants me to put that up. We got Davion, who says Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels was a masterpiece. I feel like it's underrated now. That match used to be talked about as one of the greatest WWE matches of all time. Now I feel like it's underrated because not enough people talk about it anymore.
Yeah, it's true. Especially it started being not only because of the list, but then when WWE came out with their own bullshit, I was like, yeah. I mean, WWE is they're gonna try to cater to people. I mean, they even had the tag match from the main event last year, WrestleMania, ahead of Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle. And don't get me wrong, the match was entertaining. It was better than a lot of people expected. But you're really gonna say that that's like one of the greatest matches of all time? Absolutely not. It did its job. That's what that match did.
And this matchup, Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels, and also Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. That literally, Dave Meltzer not giving those matches 5 stars is the reason why I started doing star ratings. Is because I was like, I'm sick of Dave not giving matches that are 5 stars, 5 stars because they're in WWE. That's what I felt like. I was like, these are the most egregious 4 3/4 ratings I've ever seen. We got Davion, who says another great list. SP3, you the GOAT, my brother. Thank you so much for that. I always appreciate the words. We got homie Mr. Bonda, who said Rock versus Austin is my number 1. HBK versus Undertaker at WrestleMania 25 is number 2. He's got the hourglass emoji and the shrug emoji. Rock and Austin is a fantastic matchup. But when the finish and the post match is responsible for ending the biggest boom period in history, I cannot, in good conscience, put that at number 1. It's a great matchup, but it literally ended the Attitude Era.
And then also, this is something that Austin has always been against. He didn't like the turn. He said he didn't like the fact of how he did it. He said that he should have stunned Vince. I mean, I agree with that. Like, I agree with that statement. It's a great match, but I don't think it's number one. I think the fact, with Austin and Bret Hart, I think what people don't realize is that, people talk about like the whole 316 kind of thing, like that kind of took off for Austin. Him making a baby face, I think, was even more important, because then it was like, oh, we can make this our top guy, top merch guy. Mm-hmm. That's what that match did. Like, it solidified what they were going with Stone Cold, and that kind of that made him even a bigger star, in my opinion.
Dion Jenkins says, what's the criteria, in ring or story? It was everything, Dion. What I was saying earlier, it's all everything. It's importance, it's impact. He says HBK versus Undertaker at 25 was better in ring, but their match at 26 was a better story. Yeah, but it's everything. The match at 25 wasn't bad story. Yes, the build up to 26 was better, but the storytelling in the actual matchup between HBK and Taker is one of the greatest matches of all time. The reason why I had the Hell in a Cell over WrestleMania 25, because that had the better impact and importance to WWE. The first ever Hell in a Cell, there wouldn't be Mick Foley's big moment in 1998 without that first match having what it happened. The Foley says it in the Dark Side of the Ring episode that me and Krssi Love said, that he could not top what Michaels and Taker did. That's what made him want to get thrown off the cell, to have a memorable moment that would be worthy of following that first Hell in a Cell.
And he said that was the better of the. He said he think that one was the better one, but how can I do this one since I have to be in one?
We also got Safet with a good segue comment here. He says Bret versus Austin was an awesome match, and it is now in the Hall of Fame, which brings us to our next news item here. See the setup and delivery, perfect. Thank you, Safet, for that comment. As WWE announced last night that for the first time, a match will be going into the Hall of Fame. WWE is inducting its first match into the WWE Hall of Fame in Steve Austin versus Bret Hart from WrestleMania 13. It was announced on SmackDown, which was from London, England, that the match will be the first immortal moment inducted into the Hall of Fame as part of the 2025 class. Both Hart and Austin will be in attendance for the ceremony. The critically acclaimed submission match saw Hart make Austin pass out in the famed double turn moment, and the image of a bloody Austin refusing the tap. Triple H also commented on the announcement and said the first immortal moment to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, what is considered one of the greatest matches in the history of the company 28 years later, and still as good as it was live. Congrats at Bret Hart and at Steve Austin BSR, which was me to do a humble brag of my list was right. I was right. I was right, guys. Anyone who didn't have Austin and Bret at number one, you were wrong. Sorry. Hey, you know me. I always got to get my humble brags on. But yes, well deserved for Bret and Austin. And also, it's going to help the Hall of Fame because they haven't been selling tickets that well for the Hall of Fame.
Because it's an afterthought for them. They thought Paul was going to be like the one that said, "Yeah, it's because of him that we're going to sell." No, they don't give a shit about this because they ain't got no fucking money. You should have just did it after SmackDown, so let the people just sit there and stay there, one and done.
Yeah,
it's longer, but whatever.
Yeah, but why? I don't understand. Like, why are you gonna do it so late? It's not gonna be on in Eastern time. It starts at 1 a.m.
Oh yeah, fuck you. Nah, yeah.
Fuck you. Yeah.
Fuck
you.
Because they want to do so goddamn much. They want to do all these other little special roasts and these after. I saw them advertise for after parties. Since when? Since fucking, like, you guys are trying to make everything like a fucking cash cow. Like, Now we get to go partying with the now you're breaking the fourth wall, and I'm gonna go get partying with them. Don't try to be Wale Mania. That's what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
Don't do that.
Like, get the fuck out of here.
Don't steal from us yet again. I'm so sick
Yeah.
of these people.
I mean, I'm a little surprised that it's taking this long for them to put a matchup thing or to even come up with the idea, because they technically, I mean, they probably got it from the UFC. The UFC actually does this when they do like their Hall of Fame. There's a part in the UFC Hall of Fame where Dana White does add fights. He adds like certain fights that were like memorable and to this effect that he puts into a Hall of Fame. So I think that's probably where they got the idea from. And then it's kind of one of those things too. It's just like, does that mean they're eliminating the Warriors Award thing? Which I was like, I've always been about. Like, I don't hate it, but it's just like I kind of just don't need it. Like, I wonder if that replaces that.
I can see that. I can see that happening. One final note in regards to the Hall of Fame before we get to Monday Night Raw. The Wrestling Observer newsletter had details on another name from the Attitude Era that has been considered for this year's Hall of Fame. According to the report, former Intercontinental and Tag Team Champion Ken Shamrock was discussed for this year's group. Shamrock last appeared for WWE in 1999, although he signed a Legends contract with the company last year. This one is another one that makes sense, like you just said, Josh. Them inducting a match is very similar to the UFC. With the UFC TKO tie-in, it makes sense for someone like Ken Shamrock to be an inductee this year.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Ken Shamrock, he was one of those guys where he wasn't a bad wrestler. Obviously, he had the experience, but he was also probably like the first guy to do the UFC transition to WWE. I think he was like that first fighter that did that, and I thought he was successful for what he was. Right? He was always, he won the IC title a few times or one time. It makes sense for it, but I think it's good for Ken Shamrock. I think he's one of those guys that he's always appreciated his career or what he's done. So I mean, I think it's a good thing for him.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. That would be a great thing. Just got to get Dan Severn to do the inductee. WWE Monday Night Raw on Netflix this week was from Glasgow, Scotland. Week 11 with the first John Cena promo from Brussels did 3.1 million viewers, which was up from the week prior. They were number 4 ranked on Netflix. But this week's from Brussels. This week was from Glasgow, Scotland, like I said, and it featured John Cena's second promo since turning heel. He came out and ripped into the fans once again. This time, though, Cena gave us his mission statement for WrestleMania 41, which is to win his 17th world title and retire as the last real champion. Cena wants to ruin pro wrestling by taking what the fans value the most, which is the world championship. This brought out the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, who now knows that this is a bitter and angry Cena who wants to take the title for his own vanity. But he can't take the title from the fans. He has to take it from him. So he challenged Cena to try to take it from him right then and there. Cena, though, walked away instead. So Cody told him that he would walk away from WrestleMania and walk away from the WWE without the championship to get the final word. We got an Usos reunion, guys, as it was Jay and Jimmy Uso defeating A-Town Down Under in a decent opener to the show. Post-match, the World Heavyweight Champion Gunther came out to attack both Usos. Jay got the better of him and looked to spear his WrestleMania 41 opponent, but he slipped, leading to Gunther elbowing him in the face until Jimmy came in with the steel chair to make the save. Later in the show, Jimmy gave Jay a pep talk about being in his head and wanting to see the real main event Jay Uso, who won the Royal Rumble, because this Jay can't beat Gunther. Then Jimmy confronted Gunther to challenge him to a singles match next week. When the ring general made fun of Jay slipping, Jimmy slapped the shit out of him. God damn. Adam Pearce addressed the contract signing, saying that Rhea Ripley is not in the WrestleMania 41 WWE Women's World Championship matchup. This led to Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and then Rhea Ripley all coming out. After some bickering, Pearce announced that Ripley will face Io Sky for the Women's World Championship on next week's show. All three women brawled for a bit, with Bianca Belair standing tall. Later in the show, Belair questioned Pearce's decision, leading to the GM naming Bianca as the special guest referee for the title bout next week. Lyra Valkyria defended her title, the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship, beating Raquel Rodriguez. Post-match, Liv Morgan attacked Lyra until Bayley came out to make the save to stand tall with the champion. El Grande Americano made his long-awaited debut in a splendid encounter with Dragon Lee, where the new luchador picked up the win thanks to unmasking Lee. He's 1-0, guys, 1-0. This is a great rookie performance. And finally, you had Braun Baker beat Penta via disqualification in a solid main event after interference from the Judgment Days, Dominic Mysterio and Carlito. Just when it looked like Braun got the better of Dom, Finn Balor came out with a steel chair to hit Breaker. Dirty Dom tried to convince Penta to join the Judgment Day by handing him the chair, but Penta used it on Mysterio, leading to Balor attacking both Braun and Penta to stand tall with the Judgment Day to close the show. What did you think about Monday Night Raw this week, Miss Krssi Love, and the John Cena declaring he's going to ruin pro wrestling?
I wish John Cena gave us more. It was cute. It was cool. I think the other week was better, but he didn't give us the answers that we were looking for. And to say that you've been heel all these years is a lie, but whatever. Jimmy coming out and being the savior to his little brother. Is he the little one? I think so.
Yeah, Jimmy is the older of the two.
Yeah.
Jimmy came out first.
I don't know why they just didn't say you're gonna just team up with your brother. Why they had to make it like a whole. And then he came out to his brother's music. Y'all should just did the same day one. It's just the same music. It's the same stuff. It's the same shit. Like the total disrespect to Jimmy. However, Jimmy deserves it. But whatever. It's still disrespectful.
God damn, you treating Jimmy Uso like he's Zoe Stark.
No, I'm just calling it how it is. One of the brothers always have to suffer because they always like the dysfunctional one or the one that's always getting in trouble. That's Jimmy. And Jimmy has, have to right a lot of wrongs now because he was always in fucking trouble. So, he's trying to like make his way back. Anywho, they're treating him like the brother that's never there, which is true. But yeah, he's like the, Matt to the Jeff. Jeff is the better brother of the two, but hey. This is what happens. They're just not twins.
But Jeff is also the fuck up of the two too.
That's also very fucking true. But still, everyone likes that brother though.
True. That's true.
Americano, aka Chad Gable, great, love it. Think it's hilarious.
That's allegedly. I won't let you.
Okay, ST.
That propaganda.
Sure.
That's propaganda.
Because if you look at the same physique and you put them side by side, it's the same person. Anywho,
Big E says he's seen him naked, so he knows that body anywhere.
Did he say that for real?
Yes, he did. He did.
Okay, take Big Mike. Take Big Mike. Biggie's. I want to say Big Mike. Take Biggie's mic away ASAP. That probably is a true statement, but we're just gonna not like think about it and like bring it up ever again. I love the main event. I'm sad that it was a disqualification, but I guess this is where they're going to like make the whole like. This is the WrestleMania of like triple threats and like more than two people. I feel like every other match has like 3 to 4 people if it's not a tag match, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they should make all the triple threat matches on one night.
No, what?
Yeah, triple threat matches everywhere. One for you. You get a triple threat. You get a triple threat. You get a triple threat. Make it all on one same night. So the same night that what's the name of them main event, which is night one. Yeah, make a night one. Let's just save it. Let's
So it's gonna be WrestleMania 41 triple threat.
Yeah. Have something put something on it. Like it's not really selling tickets at all. Anyway, make something interesting. Whatever. Anywho. But Raw wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't one of the better shows, but the crowd was great.
I thought it sucked. I'll be honest. I thought Raw sucked this week. I was originally going to give it a 6 out of 10, but then Romeo went 6 out of 10, so I had to go 5.5 out of 10. Because Romeo doesn't know how thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle works. He's trying to give us Steiner math of 5 out of 10 is a thumbs up. What?
No, that's actually like in the middle.
No, 5 out of 10 is a down. Krssi Love, you have to do it like your school kids. If your son gets a 50 out of 100, is that a thumbs in the middle?
Failed. No, he failed.
He failed. That's a thumbs down. If he gets a 60
right
if he gets a 60 or 65, that's thumbs in the middle. If he gets anything above 70? A 65, 7 out of 10, that's up. See, that's how thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle work.
You're absolutely right. I thought the crowd was better than the actual show. I think these afternoon shows, they really don't give a shit about some of them, not all of them. If that makes sense.
You're making me dread going on Monday. Thanks, Krssi.
Have a great time, SP. You'll probably have a great camaraderie with the people that you're with more than the show.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay.
Josh, I wanted to ask you this question since you haven't been able to talk about it yet. Is this new direction for the Jey Uso character work for you? Jey Uso basically in his head, slipping on purpose, basically WWE trying to own some of the mistakes and botches that Jey Uso has done.
It was a bad mistake. My son don't even watch my other. He was like, damn, he fell that bad. He was like, damn, you didn't see him.
He slipped on purpose. It was on purpose. Yeah, because he botched the week prior with the Tope con Hilo. He did the top dollar. So now they're trying to own the slip ups and saying that he's in his head. He's in his head. Now it's a part of the story.
No, that's just terrible. That's dumb. Now I hate it even more.
Josh?
Now you're going to make me make fun of my own self with my own mistakes. Dumb. Throw it away. Tomato.
I just wanted to say that it's so fucking stupid. Like, why are you going this direction? Like, why? Like, it doesn't need to happen, right? Because my thing is, right? Yes, Jey botched, right? Was it like the worst botch? No, I've seen worse, but it didn't do him favors. At the same time, the fact that you're trying to go a direction where it's like, oh my God, Jey is in his head. To me, it's just like, what? So now the angle is that Jey is a bad wrestler?
Yes, right.
How does that help him? But not only that, but because he botched, right? The thing is with WWE, they're so good of kind of just like moving away from like the botches, right? If something happens, they don't harbor onto it. They kind of just move on, right? They could have done that with Jey. Instead, now everybody knows that he botched. And now you're making that a storyline. And it's just like you're trying to cover up something that he made a mistake on. It's fucking stupid. People botch all the time. It happens. It's pro wrestling. Shit happens. So now that the fact that you're trying to make this to add like another layer to a story that is kind of like really doesn't need it when it comes to this aspect. You need Jey to be confident. You need him to build up the confidence for him to go to WrestleMania. The fact that you're doing the opposite and then you're trying to say like, oh, that moment is going to be big. It's going to be big. It's going to be big regardless. That's not the point. It's going to, no matter what, people are still going to cheer. If he wins, people are still going to fucking cheer. Like, that's not the point of all of this. The point is that now you're just making him look like a fucking idiot. Saying like, oh, he's really bad. He's really bad wrestling. Let's put that out there. Let's put that thought in everybody's head that he's a bad wrestler. It's fucking stupid. And then there was somebody who even like, I like this person. Don't get me wrong. I like this person. But then to try to say like, oh, this has Paul Heyman written all over it. No, like that doesn't help the situation at all. Paul Heyman is good with covering flaws. That's where Paul Heyman is a master at. If you're not a good talker, he maxes that. If you're not a great wrestler, he finds a way to build you up as a character. That's where Paul Heyman is at. This doesn't do Jay any favors because now you're just telling me, all right, he fucking sucks.
Basically, and oh man, yeah, we got a couple of comments that talk about Rated Raw review here, but first we got Call Me Mr. Bonda, who says you ain't winning shit, Felix Anthony Ball Spot with the hourglass emoji.
Oh my god, yo, damn, yo, Mr. Bonda been on one today.
Yo, he been on one. He been on one on this one. Yeah. We also got a super chat donation from Chuck Berries. Thank you so much, Chuck Berries, for the support. He said Rated Raw review was 10 times better than this past Monday's Raw.
It really
episode.
was, though. That's what helped. Yeah. I watch you guys, and I was like, these 4 o'clock episodes would just be like noise in the background. Then I just watch you guys to just give me everything I need for the rest of the week. It was fun. Thanks.
He said, watching Romeo plead his case only to die on his own hill. LOL. I said that was one of the funniest streams I've ever done. Romeo it was like Romeo was drowning. And he just kept trying to swim up.
He said, but I answered the question. I gave you, he said, he kept playing, but I gave you the answer. You asked me a question, I answered it. And what's wrong with that? Like, he's an airy true and through.
It was like watching. It was like honestly, it was like watching Donald. It was like watching Donald Trump on the podium again, trying to defend a bad decision. That's what it felt like. It felt like Donald Trump trying to defend a bad decision, and he just made himself look worse. But in his head, no, I was right. I answered the questions. I did this. Like I did what was right, and it's like no. You're just trying to defend some bullshit that you know it's bullshit, but because you think it's good, you don't want it to be bullshit, even though we all know it's bullshit.
Oh, it was so good. He was so hilarious on that episode. That episode was a one of a kind performance from Romeo.
And then the fact that Top Guy trapped him in that question, trapped him, and then he answered it, and it was like that was the answer we were looking for, and he answered it directly. It's like, yeah, you answered it, but then it's like you fell for the trap. He did the Bugs Bunny on you, and you were Daffy Duck. He tricked you.
He did. He definitely did, though. He said, what was the last time they made a storyline of somebody being a bad wrestler? He was like, Maxine Dupree. I was like, wait, I went to the rock.
And he said it like so effortlessly. He was like nothing is wrong with my answer.
Like what did I say? Like,
did I say something wrong? Like, no, why are you guys laughing at me? I answered your question quite honestly, guys. Like, and I was like,
it was like they're laughing because it was like, yes, that's not only you answered it, but it's like that's the problem. Like the answer itself, that's the problem.
It's great stuff.
WrestleMania main eventer being booked like Maxine Dupree. That's an issue. That's an issue that he refuses to acknowledge.
He tried to say, hey, Maxine is actually shit in the ring, but guess what? Maxine had 6 months experience. And, she had 6 months experience in the ring. She's not Jey Uso in this situation.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. Go out of your way to watch that Rated Raw review. That was one of the best ever. One of the best ever. We got Nutty who says Romeo says ask China. He said yes, he did. He said ask China. He said Nutty said Romeo was fighting for his life. He really was. It was awesome.
He failed. Awesome. He failed miserably.
He's like he died. He died.
Man, that was something. I was watching that. I'm like, yo, this guy is delusional. Like,
so I'll ask y'all to finish this up. What should they do to basically salvage these last 3 weeks on Monday Night Raw for the Jay and Gunther storyline?
I don't even care anymore.
I mean, I think, yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's like.
I'm at this.
It's one of those things where it's like, what can you really do?
I really like just come to the damn show at this point. Like we're already gonna get the match. Like I don't really even give a shit at this point. Just tell me why John Cena is a fucking heel. Just tell me that part. How did he contact The Rock? Did he call him on the FaceTime? Like, hey, buddy. Like, that's what I care about. I don't give a shit about this other shit.
I think what they do on Monday is they have Gunther beat down Jimmy Uso,
Again.
have Jay be like tied up in the ropes and be forced to watch it, and then that's the thing that gets him to find the confidence to fight back against Gunther. They could do a brawl on next week's show.
The little big brother saves the big brother. Great job. We're booking it on point again. Good stuff, SP. My big brother was in trouble, so I had to save my brother again.
They have to have Jay beat at least one former world champion in the next 3 weeks. That's what I need from this story. You have to make me believe Jay can beat Gunther. They have not done that with the 8 weeks of television that they've had in this buildup.
Okay.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm having a hard time just like Romeo. Fightful Select have reports that WWE has plans for the Intercontinental title matchup at WrestleMania 41 following Monday night's main event on Raw. According to the report, both Braun Breaker and Penta will meet at Mania in a four-way matchup that also includes Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio. Breaker previously faced both Balor and Mysterio in matches, while Penta recently challenged Breaker. It was noted that this is the working plan for the match and could change. Do you think that this is the right Intercontinental title match to go with? I mean, we've been talking about for weeks on this show as well as Rated Raw Review that it's been kind of the seeds have been sold for a multi-man Intercontinental title match, but I thought it would be like a multi-man ladder match with more than four guys.
Like that
Do
one.
you think you prefer that over the four-way?
Yes. Make it important. Like make something like let's fight for this particular like belt. Make it mean something. You understand what I'm saying? Like it was on the greatest of champions, which was Gunther, now who's the world champion, but whatever. Make this title what it's supposed to mean. You understand what I'm saying? The best mid-card title possible.
What about you, Josh?
I kind of agree. I knew it was gonna be a multi-man match. I just thought it would probably be like a ladder match. They still have time. They probably will make this a ladder match. You know, it's possible, but I mean, a multi-man match was a direction I knew they were going. I know a lot of people weren't happy about that. At the same time, Braun Breaker hasn't done anything significant to have a one-on-one match, and it has nothing to do with him. It has to do with what they've been doing with him. Every time he's cutting a promo, it's not even about like a singular person. It's always like, oh, what's next for Braun Breaker? There's no real direction for him when it came to his second IC title run. So I think a multi-man match makes the most sense. You know, I did see that Finn and Dom was speculated to be in the match. And then that's probably going to be more story-based where, you know, Dom probably finds a way to screw over Finn. Something happens or a mistake, and they're going to build up more on the Judgment Day bullshit when it comes to that. But I do agree with Krssi. I think it should be like a ladder match or something, just so, you know, spice it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have people yet again in these matches. Might as well do something with it.
Yeah, like Sheamus I don't know what he's doing, or it doesn't seem like he's going to be doing anything. I honestly think they should have condensed the Logan Paul and AJ Styles into the Intercontinental title scene, because they did all that teasing with AJ and Braun and then completely dropped it.
Yeah, and that's where I'm like, I thought, like, again, like that's where I kind of thought that direction was going to go to. But I guess they don't want Logan Paul. I guess they want to do something with like clicks and views, and they want to focus on that. You know, I thought that could have been something. A ladder match is, I mean, we've seen a lot of WrestleMania, you know, and never, you know, it's never a bad thing. I would have been fine with that, honestly. I think I would have been justified with that. I just don't see the issue that a lot of people are having with it. Again, the way Braun has been used, there's nothing significant that he's going at. Like you could say, Braun versus Penta. They kind of already burned that bullet. They already shot that bullet for Monday Night Raw. I don't need to see that again.
Yeah, I feel you on that. And finally, before we get into NXT, Fightful Select reports that the WWE is set to hold a tryout session on March 30th tomorrow in Europe. It's said to feature a smaller group than past tryout sessions in the region. Fightful reports that Rio and Man Like DeReiss have been invited to the tryouts. They are two talents that WWE is said to be interested in. Rio has tried out for WWE before, and DeReiss previously tried out for TNA Wrestling. Another major name reportedly set for the European tryouts is current Progress World Champion Luke Jacobs, who has also been invited. Jacobs recently appeared as a security team extra for WWE SmackDown in Barcelona, Spain. Golden Boy Santos and Spanish wrestler Zaya are other names who are been invited to the tryouts following their recent appearances in Spain as security extras. Former Love Island cast member Adam Maxt is another name invited to the tryouts as well. Fightful Select also has details on names that have been ruled out. The report notes that after asking about British wrestler Michael Oku, several sources stated that Oku getting an invitation to the tryouts are highly unlikely. Former WXW Unified World Champion Peter Taines was also reportedly ruled out of the tryouts. Peter is said to be recovering from a shoulder injury and is not cleared for the in-ring physical activity. But WWE NXT this week, they did another strong rating, I believe 731,000 viewers. The show featured Stephanie Vaquer defending her gold as she beat Jada Parker in a decent opener to the show to retain the NXT Women's Championship, thanks to interference from Jordynne Grace. Post-match, we had a brief interaction between Jada and Jordan before Fatal Influence attacked Vaquer from behind, injuring her ribs. Later in the show, Vaquer did pick up another victory over Fallon Henley in a good main event to retain the NXT Women's North American Championship, becoming the first woman to, the first superstar to defend two separate titles in one night, doing what Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins couldn't do before her. Post-match, La Prama was jumped by Fatal Influence until Jordynne Grace made the save. Grace also fought off Jada Parker and stared down with Vaquer to close the show. But Vaquer making history on the show, so that's the big note from this week's NXT. But meanwhile, you had Ricky Saints had a sit-down interview that was interrupted by NXT North American Champion Shawn Spears, going over their past together, and Spears feeling like Ricky is selfish as well as never has any friends while he has the culling. This sets up a North American title match for next week's show. Later in the show, Saints joined the commentary team as Ethan Page defeated Andre Chase, teasing a matchup between Ricky and All Ego as well, but Shawn Spears got the last laugh by attacking Ricky from behind. Lexis King defeated Javon Evans via countout to retain the NXT Heritage Cup, thanks to interference from NXT champion Oba Femi. Post-match, the Dark State faction came out looking to attack when Oba tried to powerbomb Javon, but Trick Williams came out to hit Femi with the trick shot knee, who moved out the way, allowing Williams to hit Evans with the knee instead. We had both men, Oba and Trick, being held back by security, but Trick later on in the show announced that he's calling out Oba on next week's show. But in NXT news, at NXT Roadblock, Julia lost the NXT Women's Championship to Stephanie Vaquer, making Vaquer a double champion. She hasn't been seen on television since then, but she did appear at a live event in Florida, teasing a feud with Cora Jade. A report from last month said that the former NXT Women's Champion was quote-unquote banged up, but wasn't expected to miss any time. The Wrestling Observer newsletter asked WWE about her status, and they denied that she was hurt and would be taking time off. The original plan for Stand and Deliver seemed to be Julia versus Stephanie Vaquer versus Jordan Grace. However, it seems it will be Vaquer versus Grace at this time. If it is a three-way, Jada Parker will likely be added. What do you think, Krssi Love, about Stephanie Vaquer winning those two matches? And if Julia is not banged up or taking time off, do you think it was a mistake doing that match early instead of at Stand and Deliver?
Yes, it was. If she wasn't injured, they should have just waited till Stand and Deliver. I feel like, give it more meaning, impact, bigger stage, things like that. I mean, it was a big stage, of course, but it would have been bigger in Vegas. I feel like.
Yeah, like that like this whole recording.
Them rush. They always rushing shit. That's the damn problem.
Yeah, the whole reporting of Julia has been weird. It feels like the whole Jade Cargill, when Jade Cargill was out and we didn't know if she was injured or not, if she wasn't, if she was just taking time off. It seems like we got that again with Julia right now.
Yeah, they don't, because Sean and them don't know what they're doing over there. Sean and Paul.
But it's also like it's one of those things where I've been saying about Shawn Michaels. I'm like, he's kind of overrated when it comes to booking, because it seems like with NXT that the reason why it's hard for me to be invested in NXT is that they always have these shows where they stack the fuck up, and then the following like week or two is kind of just like, all right, we're not following up with that. And this is kind of no different when it comes to that. Like, obviously they pushed it forward because of the whole Madison Square Garden theater shit. So they put more focus on that than having a bigger crowd in Vegas for Stand and Deliver. It's a weird thing. So I'm just like, if that was the case, if she's not injured, why did you put the title on her in the first place? You could have taken her out a few weeks, not defending the title. Yeah. You do it all the time in WWE. It would have been no different. It's just
Stephanie didn't need both belts, to be honest. I mean, it's cool, but she don't need them. She really don't need. She could have just had the North American one and just call it. She could have just been headlining each show or did like 2 matches or whatever, same thing, and call it a day. But whatever. They know more.
Yeah, because I thought they were gonna do the triple threat after Vengeance Day when Jordan Grace debuted and had that stare down with Julia and Stephanie Vaquer. But here we are now. Here we are. Chilling with Chase says WWE wild for making Stand and Deliver at 9:30 a.m. in Las Vegas. Laugh my fucking ass off.
But last year Stand and Deliver, was it 11 or 12? I remember us being at the place mad early. I think it maybe started at 12.
Yeah, I think it was like 12. I think you probably got there at 12 and then it started at 1.
I just remember being a long ass fucking day. And that's they're booking this shit so terribly. Like the time, y'all better hope people be up to watch the fucking main show, because people will watch that shit on the rerun. I promise you.
Wait, so if it's 9:30 in Vegas, that means it's
12:30
for us,
for y'all.
Oh,
that's wild. That is wild. Oh, probably because of the time difference. Their time over there, it has to be but even still though, bro, like that's fucking crazy. Like you could have still done the 12 for all right, forget it. Never mind. I can't do that.
I mean, you're gonna have people hung over for that shit.
Yes, that is true, especially if they're going to the Hall of Fame the night prior. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that shit.
9:30.
WWE Evolve is the final thing we'll talk about from WWE this week. The show featured Shawn Legacy defeating Timothy Thatcher, who made his return in a rock-solid main event. Post-match, Swipe Right confronted Legacy until Cappuccino Jones and Jack Cartwheel came out to have Legacy's back. Then Swipe Right tried to call on Ice Williams to have their back, but he sided with the babyfaces instead to close the show. Wolfgang of Gallus beat Sam Holloway in the opener to the show. Kendall Gray defeated Zara Zacher in a decent matchup, while Ava announced that Stevie Turner is the new general manager for Evolve. So she won the assistant war with Robert Stone, because Robert Stone is just a commentator on Evolve while she's the GM. women's rights. Absolutely. But that is all from WWE this week. AEW, you had AEW Dynamite. They did 663,000 viewers over on TBS. The show featured Swerve Strickland calling out AEW World Champion Jon Moxley to confront him ahead of their AEW Dynasty main event showdown. Swerve called out Moxley for being a shell of his former self, and everything he used to be is what Strickland is now. While Moxley said that guys like Swerve give him hope for the future, but he doesn't think he's ready right now. Mox had Claudio come out to intimidate Prince Nana, and then had Marina Shafir come out with a crowbar, but Swerve had Willow Nightingale as backup with a lead pipe. Swerve then said that he will win the AEW World title, restart the Dynasty era, while Jon Moxley can have fun playing Jon Moxley on TV, in a great promo exchange between the champion and the challenger. Also on the show, Swerve confronted Hangman Adam Page about even thinking about getting involved in his AEW World title match at Dynasty before Prince Nana separated them. To open the show, you had Kenny Omega beat Blake Christian. Post-match, Speedball Mike Bailey came out to warn Omega he will not hesitate to kick his head clean off, despite respecting and admiring the AEW International Champion when they face at Dynasty. But the third member of that matchup, Ricochet, interrupted with a pre-taped promo from his wedding, saying that he will beat both men for the title at Dynasty. Omega got the final word and promised to retain the title and his legacy on April 6th. Rated FTR had a very compelling sit-down interview where Dax Harwood tried to apologize for walking out on Cope last week, explaining he felt like FTR got distracted trying to help Cope with the AEW World title and took their eye off the ball for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. While Cope said he came back to help them, and he wanted Rated FTR to go after the Trios Championships. Cash Wheeler agreed, so they made the challenge to the Death Riders for Dynasty. MJF accepted MVP's offer to join the Hurt Syndicate until Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin came out to take the card and rip it up in front of MJF's face. When MJF left, this brought out the Learning Trees, Big Bill and Brian Keefe, to challenge Hurt Syndicate for the AEW World Tag Team titles. MVP embarrassed both men and then told them to win a match, maybe they can get a title shot. Backstage, the Hurt Syndicate had a meeting about why MJF shouldn't be in the Hurt Syndicate, because he's grimy and can't be trusted. The Don Callis family dominated the in-ring action on this show, as you had Kyle Fletcher defeating Brody King in an excellent bout. Post-match, Fletcher and Mark Davis jumped Brody until Powerhouse Hobbs made the save. This led to Powerhouse Hobbs picking up a win over Davis in a short Haas match. And then finally, later in the show, you had Konosuke Takeshita beat Mark Briscoe in an absolute banger. Switchblade Jay White entered himself into the Owen Hart Cup tournament, joining the field with Will Ospreay and Hangman Adam Page. And finally, Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford defeated Thunder Tits, Timeless Tony Storm, and Thunder Rosa in a good main event after Bayne pinned the AEW Women's World Champion to close the show. Krssi Love, what did you think about this week's Dynamite?
Great show. Loved it. Thunder Tits, I'm here for. Put on a shirt.
They need to make a shirt of Thunder Tits.
You have to. You have to make. And then like Thunder Rosa, you saw her look like. I don't think Thunder Rosa knew she was gonna do that. It was so fun. It was so funny. I was here. I mean, when I marked out. I was like, "Yo, give Tony Storm an award for this person. This right here is freaking gold." I love it. I thought Brody King should have won, but they had a great fucking match. Brody King is out here like Finn Balor. He keeps losing matches, but keeps giving great matches though.
Yeah, and I said it on AE Rambo. I was like, I need Brody King to not lose any more high profile matches because the fans are behind him.
behind him, like bro, like everyone was like rooting for that. And Tony, please listen to us, just for just for a little while. It'll pay off I promise you, it'll pay off.
Agreed. Josh, what did you think about Dynamite this week?
I thought it was a great episode. They've been having a good run this year when it comes to Dynamite. I liked a lot of things that they did on the show. The women main evented two weeks in a row. So that's a plus right there.
I didn't understand that during a pay-per-view, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, right? It's always about learning, right? You learn, right? You go through the motions, you learn. So far, Tony, he's learned his lesson so far.
He learned his lesson.
Yeah, the Swerve and Mox stuff was really good.
It was. It really
especially
was.
Swerve, he used that callback line that Mox used on John Cena all those years ago. I thought that was pretty funny. And then I'm trying to remember what else. Oh, like the stuff with Kenny Omega, Speedball, Ricochet. I thought that was pretty solid. Especially that line Kenny Omega said, like, I don't need, like, I have a cat. I don't need any more friends. That was like so random when he said that. But I mean, overall, Dynamite, great episode of Dynamite.
Yep.
Yeah. Back to back, really, really strong episodes of Dynamite. I would probably give the edge to this week even more than last week, because I felt like the wrestling on this show was stronger than even last week's show. This was pretty much the two Don Callis matches with Takeshita and Briscoe and Fletcher and Brody King. Those were better than probably any of the matches from last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I also wanted to add too, when it comes to that, like with somebody like Brody King, right? They have guys like this too, right? You have Brody King and you have like a Mark Briscoe. These are fucking great workers in the ring that every time now when you hear that they're going to have a match, you kind of know it's going to be great. And I think that's I think that's a good thing to have on the show, like in a company like this as well. I just wanted to add that.
And I thought the Moxley and Swerve promo was probably the best Moxley promo that he's been involved in since he became world champion.
Yeah, he didn't sound like
he's been this particular champion.
Yeah, then also like because he didn't sound like a fucking like a maniac, whereas like he's like trying to have these scripted messages, and it's just like, bro, what are you talking about? Like he sounded normal for once, where he was like, like he was giving it to Swerve, and the Swerve gave it back. And I think also, from what I understand, I think that was also the peak too, right? That segment, like that was like the highest rated segment. So I mean, Swerve is Swerve. I know Swerve been getting a lot of shit this week, but I mean,
we'll talk about that. We're gonna talk about that.
What happened? What did he do? Oh my god!
We're gonna talk about that.
We'll talk about it. But I'm like, he's again, regardless of what people want to say, Swerve is that guy. He's that guy. And he's been proving it. And I mean, I love seeing it. I've been really enjoying it. Just because like I've seen him from when he was in the indies and seeing where he's at now. It's pretty incredible stuff.
Yeah, happy for him. We do have a super chat donation here from Jay Miller. Thank you so much, Jay Miller, for the support. He says, I'm for Roman Seth Punk main eventing. It's the right call, but don't have Credit Boy H say, oh, the women could main event Mania. Yeah, I mean, he shouldn't have said that dumb shit. Like, we all knew the women weren't going to main event WrestleMania again. Mania, he says Mania.
He said it to save face.
THH for life.
Yeah, I mean, he said it. I mean, he said it to save face, but I mean, we all know it was bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we don't believe you. You need more people. What you talking about, dog? Come on, man. But the big news from AEW this week was in the first episode of her new podcast, Rule Breakers, via Entertainment Weekly announced it officially. Saraya announced that she has left All Elite Wrestling, noting that she is leaving on basically a mutual decision from the company and herself. On leaving AEW, she says, I'm here to tell you that me and AEW's relationship has come to an end. I had an amazing time there. There's no bad blood between us. I had such a magical time. On making the decision during her time away, she says, and then I got to thinking, what is there left for me to do in wrestling right now? There's really no storylines where I would fit in. It's just me thinking that I just don't fit in right now. I feel like I might be taking someone else's spot, someone who could be doing something really special. On a possible return later on, that's not to say I will never come back to AEW. I absolutely love it, but I'm taking a little step back and focusing on myself for a bit and putting my energy into the podcast with all the crew here. What a wonderful crew I have here. On Tony Khan and the locker room, she says, thank you, AEW. Thank you to the AEW fans. I loved my fucking time there. Tony's fucking awesome. They will just enjoy their time. It's just great. And I miss the girls' locker room. I'll miss you, but don't be a fucking stranger. You know where I am. I see some of you outside the company anyway. Fightful Select reports that this development surprised almost everyone in AEW, and that Saraya had only told a few people as of last week she was leaving. The outlet sought clarification from Saraya's management team, and they said that she is a free agent, noting, I confirm we'll mutually agree to parting ways. Her services have been fulfilled, and we are parting on excellent terms. As of this writing, Saraya is still listed on the roster for AEW's website. During an interview with Before the Bell, Saraya spoke about what's next for her career. She said that she's taking time off to take a step back, but on a possible WWE return, she said, you know what? This came up so much at my signing yesterday. I didn't realize I always have this insecurity, I guess, where I feel like people just don't give a crap about me. And I have to be reminded of it all the time. I really do. But I get so many people wondering if I'm gonna go back there. I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe if there's something cool that comes along and they would want me back there, maybe, who knows what the future holds. Never say never. I think that Saraya's time on screen for AEW will be viewed as very polarizing, but I think that she deserves a lot more credit than she's going to get, because it was through her and through the vehicle of the Outcast that Toni Storm basically got the platform to propel herself into the timeless character, where she gained confidence being next to Saraya and then is able to become the best character in AEW. It's because of Saraya and the platform of the Outcast that Harley Cameron, who was introduced in a failed gimmick that was QTV, was given a platform where we saw how entertaining she was in backstage segments and being a second to Saraya, and then in tag team matches with Saraya. She learned a lot from Saraya. I think her impact will be on the women that she helped on screen as well as behind the scenes with like advice and her experience. So I think that a lot of people should rethink how they view Saraya's time in AEW. What do y'all think?
I agree with that.
I agree with that. I think it's just, with Saraya, I think the in-ring stuff wasn't great, but we had to also take to consideration that, one, she didn't wrestle for years, and two, she's dealing with a long-term injury that, for me, it was more of like, I hope she doesn't get injured more than the other stuff. Like, I didn't really expect anything great because of that. But she got to leave on her own terms, and I do commend her for that. I do commend her for being upfront of like leaving on good terms. And I know a lot of people were saying like, oh, she signed an NDA. There's no proof of that, and we all know Saraya, as much shit we give her, she's always been upfront. She's always been very honest, and I don't think she's lying about it.
No.
And she's always had she's always praised Tony Khan for a lot of stuff. There might be frustration, maybe, because, sometimes people, when you're on the top, sometimes you want to stay there. Again, the wrestling business is an egotistical business where people, once they get to that spot, they never want to leave it. But at least she's leaving on her own terms. And I do agree that, there are other things that she did do that it's not going to be appreciated because people didn't want to want her to be there in the first place.
Yeah, that part. Definitely. But she's even said that the only regret she has is that she never got to work the program with Mercedes Moné, and they both wanted to do that. And she says she wanted to drop the AEW Women's World Title to Toni Storm, not to Hikaru Shida. But she's happy Toni eventually got it.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and again, things happen, and I think she understands that too. That it's a business. Sometimes you don't get what you really want, and then sometimes you just have to move on from it.
Yep. But out with the old, in with the new, as it was reported on Tuesday that Mina Shirakawa was set to leave Stardom as she was making plans to move to the United States. In a post on Twitter, Shirakawa confirmed her Stardom exit and noted she will be joining the AEW roster. They actually did a press conference for her where she said, "I, Shirakawa Mina, will be leaving Stardom in March 2025. It is only thanks to the fans who have always believed in me and supported me that I have been able to continue to pursue my dreams and pursue my career as a professional wrestler. Thank you so much. As for the future, I, Shirakawa Mina, will be joining AEW." This is a perfect move, a great move in my eyes. I think that Mina Shirakawa instantly showed everybody she's a TV-ready star. So this is a great move for AEW. What do you think about her going over to AEW after leaving Japan? Krssi?
I think this is a really good move for her. Get her feet wet over here, do some things over here. And she's proven that she can do good things with the girls over here. So I'm excited for her to be over at AEW.
Yeah, it just makes all the sense in the world. Josh, what do you think?
It's a great move. And I know people were speculating, some of the white knights for WWE were expecting her to go to WWE because people think everybody wants to go there. No, Mina is in a situation where she's very comfortable at AEW, and she's still going to make the money that she could even with WWE, or even more in AEW than WWE. It's a good move for her. And one of those things too, right? Side note, when it comes to this, was one of my boys, he booked her for a convention appearance in the United States, and he told me that she was the biggest pre-sale that he's had like all year. Right, he had Jay White, remind you, before he had Jay White when Jay White was on his peak. He's had big names, and he was like, Mina was his biggest pre-sale, right, and biggest turnout at the actual day of the event. So she made a lot of money, and I think now she knows, like, not only that, but financially she's set. She can make a lot of money, and Mina's one of those stories too where she's a good character. I think she's good personality, because what a lot of people don't know is, she didn't start off as a wrestler. She learned her way up, she learned her, and then she got to be a wrestler when it comes to that. So she didn't have like a traditional kind of wrestling background. So she's made the most of it, and I think right now her stock, the way that it is, it's a good move all around for her.
Yeah, she started in Stardom as an idol, basically like a pop performer doing dance and music, and she wasn't good when she first started off in Stardom. And then she had a match with Saya Kamatani, where Saya Kamatani did a Phoenix Splash on her and basically broke her nose, broke her whole face, and she had to take time off, and she cuts this amazing promo, and then she came back and she was so improved from there on out, and had that whole journey where she wins the white belt, the Wonder of Stardom Championship in 2023. Her reign was really short, but that really kind of run her build up, her chase of that title really got the people behind her. And then she broke out in the United States on AEW last year, and the rest is history. But a lot of her breakout came alongside a woman that may be in her contract year and may be about to leave AEW, as according to a report from Fightful Select, top AEW women's star and former women's world champion Mariah May is in a contract year. Per multiple staffers, wrestlers, and higher ups, May's AEW contract is set to is believed to expire later this summer. It is unknown if May's current deal has any option years attached to it. However, one source within AEW said that they would be shocked if there weren't as a deal this short as the one May has is uncharacteristic considering the push she received from AEW management. May won last year's Women's Owen Hart tournament, later defeating Toni Storm to capture the AEW Women's World title in her home country of England at AEW All in London. Fightful notes that while May's contract is said to be up this summer, AEW is looking to retain Mariah May. Word of May's pending contract status reportedly spread in AEW in recent weeks, specifically after she lost her title rematch against Toni Storm earlier this month at Revolution. In reaching out to Mariah May and her reps on the report, they had no comment. Additionally, AEW does not comment on the contract status of its wrestlers. Krssi Love, I'll start with you. What do you think about Mariah May being in a contract year, and do you think she will leave AEW before the end of 2025?
I don't think she'll leave. I think she'll stay there.
Why?
She should stay there. I think she's a good fit over there. If she does leave, I mean, you'll be on NXT.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think that would be it. Like, that's why, like, I don't think that right now is the right time.
It's not the right,
yeah. Like, I think that she's not gonna get as much money as what Tony Khan's gonna offer. She's not gonna be in the same position that Tony Khan has placed her in. If she goes, she basically would have to start over in WWE.
Yep.
I would spend maybe a year, maybe there's an option year on her deal, because like the report said, AEW doesn't do 2-year deals. They usually do like 3 to 5 year deals. So I think there is an option on her contract that will extend her probably to the summer of 2026. If she feels at that time she's done everything she could in AEW, then maybe that's the time to leave. But right now, I don't think it's that time.
I don't think
Josh?
it's now. Yeah.
Same, and I've been saying it. I think AEW is the best scenario for her at the moment. More money, spot, where she's at. From what I understand too, from the grapevine, she's not 100% in favor of going to NXT if that was an option. Even if WWE used to sign her, you're gonna put her to her main roster, she's probably dead in the water when it comes to that. So I wouldn't just, I think she's more value than that. People forget her matches at Stardom. She's a great wrestler. So that's the only thing I would say that I would want AEW to showcase more of, because I think she is a good performer. But AEW would be a good option, a better option. But then also, there's a sense of loyalty that she has with TK. So I think that's why I think she's comfortable where she's at. She could do more of AEW too. She could go back home. There's obviously, she could do stuff like that. So I think the AEW is the best option. I think she ends up staying.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, because I know she is a fan of WWE, and that was probably her dream going up. If she was into wrestling, and before getting into the business was probably her dream to go to WWE. But there was a lot of bad when she was previously kind of doing tryouts and in NXT UK. If you know the background of her career, you know what I'm talking about, so I don't need to go into it. But yeah, I think that right now, though, business wise, it ain't the right time for Mariah May.
Nope. They get lost in the sauce on NXT. I'm telling you right now.
It's too much talent in NXT right now.
Too much. The girls are stacked over there.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows what she's thinking at the end of the day, though?
Yeah.
But Finally, we had on Wednesday's show, like we said earlier, Big Bill and Brian Keefe challenged the Hurt Syndicate to an AEW World Tag Team title matchup. MVP told the duo they need to pick up some wins first. In the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it was reported that this was not the original plan for the titles. According to Wrestling Observer newsletter, the Murder Machines, Lance Archer and Brian Cage were the first choice to face Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. However, Cage suffered a knee injury at an independent show on March 20th in a match with Chris Masters. While the match hasn't been announced yet, the Hurt Syndicate versus Keith and Bill is the plan for AEW Dynasty coming up on April 6th. So there you have it. That makes all the sense in the world, because we had people in the chat on AE Rebel being like, where's the Murder Machines? They completely dropped that shit. Like, yeah, it makes sense that this is like a replacement, basically. But AEW Collision has been on the up in regards to ratings, and that did not change with the lead-in with the NCAA tournament last weekend. They split AEW Collision on Saturday and Sunday. Slam Dunk Saturday did 554,000 viewers, which is their highest of the year so far. It featured Daniel Garcia and Adam Cole going to a 20-minute time limit draw in another very good TNT championship match between the two. Julia Hart defeated Queen Aminata in another solid bout between those two ladies. The Don Callis families, Konosuke Takeshita and the Murder Machines, beat Rocky Romero and Mark Briscoe and Powerhouse Hobbs in a pretty fun trios main event. Slam Dunk Sunday Collision did even higher than Saturday. They did 584,000 viewers. The Death Riders defeated Top Flight and AR Fox in a decent opener to retain the AEW World Trios Championships. Harley Cameron picked up another victory over Amani Belmont. Bandito beat Johnny TV. Post-match, Bandito called out Chris Jericho to bring out his brother's Gravity's mask, which brought out the learning tree, where Chris Jericho tried to embarrass Bandito's family again and then put on Gravity's mask. This led to Bandito fighting back and getting the better of the learning tree and taking back his brother's mask. And Los Titans del Araí, Commander and Hologram, defeated LFI's The Beast Morto and Jalisco in a super fun main event. And yes, you also had the Chris Jericho girl who flipped off Jericho. That was a lot of fun. That went viral. That was great. That was great stuff. But yeah, Collision.
How do you talk like that?
She was like, he's like, you don't even know what that means. She was like, it means fuck you.
I was like, who's our parent?
Yo.
Oh, that girl puts the John Cena kid to shame.
Yeah,
that John Cena kid could not handle himself with that girl.
Nope, not even close.
But we teased it earlier, or Josh teased it earlier, so I'll try to put this in a short, compact way, because there's a lot here. Okay. In an interview with Vlad TV, Swerve Strickland spoke about his release from WWE back in 2021, where he talked about the Hit Row being released. He said, coming up, I think there was a contract dispute with the girl of the group, Brianna. That's spectatory. I'm not sure that's 100% true. Shout out Brie. She's still dope. She's still up there now. They brought her back. Something happened with that. As soon as we got drafted the following week, we did a promo, and then she wasn't getting flight information to be on SmackDown. It was kind of disappeared. It was like, we all got ours. Where's yours? I didn't get mine yet, she says. So we were all talking amongst each other like, no, we didn't get it. It's getting closer and closer to the flight time. Where's Brie at? I still have no flight. I still don't have anything, she says. It's literally just got taken off. She got the flight, and then it just went away. It disappeared. I was like, yo, what's going on? We're on the flight, we're coming down, and we start getting our notifications, and we're seeing all these releases happening. Ricochet is right next to me on the other aisle. He just looks at his phone and looks at me like, yo, all the talent is just looking at all their friends just getting fired. It's like a group of 8 people just got fired that day. That whole year, I think they let go of 150 talent and staff. This was coming straight out of COVID too, and during that COVID year, WWE had to keep running. On a member of the group upsetting someone in WWE, he says, then we meet with Vince McMahon or whatever. Apparently, one of the members of the group was just they complained at the office because he was calling and asking her for her flight. What's going on? They're like, we can't disclose that information to you. He's like, what? He started getting aggressive on the phone, apparently at Titan Towers. So we're meeting with Vince, and we have to talk to Vince about this because he was apparently upset with it. He was like, first off, that's none of your business. Your talent. You do this, you worry about what you do. Don't worry about anybody else, even if it's in your group. You worry about what you do, and that's what we do. That's a respect thing. We're just sitting there, and in the hallway of this arena, Bruce Pritchard behind him, John Laurinaitis behind him, and Vince right here, and they're just sitting there, standing like puppy dogs, watching Vince just bark at us. He laughs. I was just like, wow. I think that got heat on us right there. He's just like, nobody just asks for a meeting with me. There's people that work for me 15 years that's never had a meeting with me. I was like, oh, cool. I feel honored now. We got the little bit of scolding, but it was just the one member of the group that made that call, and apparently who he was talking to in the office complained about he was aggressive on the phone or whatever. On the final days of his WWE run, he says, next thing you know, one of the group members gets appendicitis and he can't wrestle. So now it's just left to me and the big guy to have these tag team matches. Apparently, he upset someone in the back somewhere, somehow. I'll never forget to this day. It was before the show, rehearsal and everything. We go over a segment and I come through the back and Bruce Pritchard's just sitting by himself in the gorilla position. And he's like, hey, Swerve. I'm like, yeah. He's like, you know, you're the veteran of the group, right? You've been doing this the longest. You have the most experience. I'm like, yeah, I do. He's like, all right, take control. I was like, okay. 2 weeks later, we all get let go. That was that. He says that was the last time. Then all these reports coming out about what happened, what possibly happened, and it was this plectory heat, major heat on one individual that caused everybody to get released and all that, which might have been true. Then I'm hearing from talents I'm close with, they're like, yeah, it was him. Yeah, it was him. I'm like, damn. Then 90 days until I get hired and get a new job. And then AJ Francis weighed in on Swerve's comments, talking to the good brother Adrian Hernandez, and he talked about his relationship with Swerve Strickland. He says, I don't have no issues with Swerve. I just saw him on Sunday. It was a hunky-dory. I just don't know where the shit is coming from. He obviously did the interview before he saw me on Sunday at the Benefit for Bay. That was the first show we have been booked on together in 4 years since WWE. Wasn't no problem, no issue. When I woke up today and saw people tag me in the Vlad interview, I was confused. I don't know where the static is coming from. I talk facts. Fact of the matter is, the first time I saw Swerve in 2 years was at Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. We were in the same suite. As soon as he walked into the suite, I walked right up to him and said, yo, are we good? And he was like, yeah, we're good. I'm not really understanding where this is coming from. I was ready for the static and there was none. I'm not sure where this is coming from. I don't know why it even got brought up. Why are we talking about me on Vlad TV? What am I doing with anything you have going on? I made a point not to talk about Swerve. You will not find one person on this earth in the 100 interviews I've done, the millions of conversations I had with friends and others. You will not find one time where I brought Swerve up to him or to them. They bring him up to me. Today he was brought up to me, and I want him to make all the money in the world. Just leave me the fuck out of it. I got nothing to do with it. If we're going to talk real, let's talk real. On the situation about B-Fab's release, he said the whole situation with B-Fab and her flight, we're not even telling the whole story. What happened was all of us had our travel to SmackDown, and randomly B-Fab's travel came off the app. Oh, it must be a mistake. I ended up being like, call them and see what's up. She's like, no, it's not a mistake. They're saying I'm not needed on TV. That was weird to me because we had just got drafted up, and she was an integral part in what we were doing. I called John Laurinaitis and I offered to pay for her flight. I'm thinking this is the main roster. They didn't see what we were doing with Hit Row on NXT. Maybe we're coming up for a dark match and they're thinking we save money on the flight because we just need the guys, which they did another time on the European tour. Something happened with Montez Ford's passport and the Street Profits couldn't go. So they had 2 flights and hotels booked, not 3. So they sent me and Ashanti. That kind of thing happens. I'm thinking they don't need her for TV because we're doing a dark match. And I was like, I'll get her flight. I just wanted to make sure she is there. He's like, no, you don't need to get her flight. I left the conversation being like, that's kind of weird. When she got released, that threw me the fuck off. I worked my ass off with B-Fab, with Ashanti for a year to create Hit Row behind the scenes at the Performance Center. Swerve didn't even join until 2 weeks before we debuted. The reason why we were debuting is because I, a person who didn't need wrestling to make myself a star, unlike everybody else that keeps my name in their mouth, I was already hosting WWE's Most Wanted Treasures. The show came out and was a hit and still the most watched thing they ever done on A&E. They were like, we need to get this guy on TV. Triple H came to me, and what do you think about putting Swerve in your crew? At the time, I was like, if he gets me on TV, you can put me with the Dalai Lama in my crew. I knew I was going to make it work. I know that I'm the chef and I was going to make that shit work. Plus, Swerve has TV equity, and that matters in wrestling. He has never done hip hop as a character. I came into WWE with the Hit Row idea and was already doing it on the indies. I had Ashanti and B-Fab. She's a rapper and a beautiful woman. He is a great wrestler. We were going to be a tag team. I produced and engineered everything, and we'll say Ashanti is the producer, and that was how Hit Row was created. On showing proof about all of this, he said, I know who structured the song. I know who did all that shit. So do they? If I'm the bad guy, somebody ask Vlad to ask Swerve why Ashanti and B-Fab don't talk to him anymore. Since I'm the bad guy, why is it that me, her, and Ashanti were talking today about this foolishness? Everything I say is backed up by facts. I don't just talk out the side of my mouth. People want to come and say, oh, he was aggressive. Every black dude in America that is big has something to say is aggressive. Keith Lee was called aggressive. Keith Lee is one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. I was called aggressive. Why? I never raised my voice. I was never disrespectful in any way. When I was 12, me and my father almost got killed by police because they thought we were 2 grown men that robbed a bank a week earlier because we were 2 black men in a white truck, even though it was a white man that did the robbery. That didn't matter. At 12, I learned the world sees you as a fucking threat. You have an account. You have to account for that. That's why I wear bright colors. And when I go to Sundown Town, I wear Overjeans Capitals jersey. Why? White people ain't scared of a brother in a hockey jersey.
Oh my God.
He says, that shit pisses me off. Isn't that what you want? Y'all want me to see B-Fab get fired and be like, chalk it up to the game? No, that's corny as fuck. I'm not a corny ass person. When me, B-Fab, and Ashanti were in the trenches all the time coming up with concepts, we wouldn't get to use storyline ideas ignored hours upon hours on the road. Come on. I'm supposed to be cool with her being gone. Clearly she's back and doing everything. So clearly I was fucking right. I say that and I'm supposedly the asshole. Stand on it. If you are a person that said I was aggressive, stand on it. I got a couple of good ideas that I know who the people were. If it is exactly who I think it is, which I think it is, I got some shit to say about them too. Stand on it. You got something to say about me or anything I do? Say it with your whole chest. Capital letters. I'll be right there. Address it. Fuck out of here. I've been too successful in too many avenues to give a fuck about what these cornballs think about me. I was on TV for 10 years before I took my first bump. I made my first million before I was 25. What the fuck do I got to do to prove to you people that you're not in my league? Literally. Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest.
You kept going. I'm like, oh, see, is this over yet? Like it just kept going on and on and on. I'm like, oh my God.
I gave you the abbreviated version too.
What? Bro, you was talking for a good 15, 20 minutes. Like,
this man was not happy with what Swerve had to say the least.
Only
Josh, what do you think?
Like that, I feel like.
I mean, how can you be guilty if he's
a lot of shit, bro? So what you saying? He made this shit up? Okay.
I mean, all I'm saying is that AJ has never been accused of not being for his people. Swerve has. I love Swerve. I think Swerve is so talented. I think Swerve was one of the best wrestlers in the world today. But he has been accused of being, and you hear it every Thursday on AE Ramble, he has been accused of being not for his people.
So you saying he stepped on us to get where he needs to be. Got it. Okay. No problem.
Josh, what do you think?
I mean, it's a lot. Swerve in the interview did say a lot. Even besides that, you know, the whole Booker T stuff got brought up. What else? His run in WWE got brought up, like in general got brought up. So there was a lot that he talked about. I know a lot of people were upset that it was Vlad TV who interviewed him. You know, Vlad is pretty controversial in his own way. I don't know if the man lacks self-awareness on that or he's aware of it. I don't know. You know, so usually when you go on that platform, it's not usually a good outcome. You know, some more than others, unfortunately, to say the least, when it comes to that and dealing with that platform. To Sera's credit, he did warn us that his interview was going to piss off people and who was with. He did give a heads up to people, like, you're not going to be happy about this. You know, just for clarification on that. In regards to the whole things about AJ and Swerve, there are things that I do know personally. A lot of people might not know, but a lot of people. I'm actually cool with BFAB herself. I was actually cool with her before she joined WWE. So I knew that WWE was always her dream. You know, so there was times that me and her used to talk, like we were like chill and used to talk, and like, you know, I always asked her, like, you know, like, what's your plans on going to WWE? Like, you know, is that something that's legit? You know, so there is something that she did tell me about, you know, about Swerve and them. I'm not gonna get into it because it's a personal thing. That's her story to tell. If she or whoever wants to tell it, she could tell it. I know the gist of it, so I kind of understand the situation between AJ and Swerve. You know, with Swerve's talked about it. You know, I don't think he was trying to be malicious, in my opinion. I don't think he was trying to be malicious. I don't think he was trying to throw AJ under the bus. Right. Because AJ was open about for a long time ago. AJ was open about the BFAB situation. He was just like, you know, that he went to management. He asked him what was going on. So Swerve in that aspect didn't say anything out of pocket, in my opinion. I could understand why he's upset though, because he brought him up and he's just like, what the fuck, man? Like, you're bringing me. I could understand that. I don't think in that situation, I don't think AJ is wrong for how he feels. He feels how he feels, and I can't tell him, hey, you're wrong for that, because his name was brought up and he just doesn't appreciate it. And I can understand that. It's one of those things. You could tell there's obviously issues. Somebody is not saying anything between them. You know. Again, what Swerve was saying, but then I think Swerve also did elaborate that he doesn't blame AJ Francis. He doesn't blame him for losing his job. He's like, that's what other people told me. I'm not blaming him. Yeah. Like, I don't, and he doesn't believe AJ is the one that cost him his job. Just to make that clear. And I'm not too sure if AJ saw the interview or he's you know, like, I'm not too sure. To me, it came off like he didn't hear the interview. He probably saw clips, that's all I got from that. But obviously, it's an unfortunate situation between, the group, between people, between them. Obviously, AJ is a lot closer with them because of how they were brought up. Swerve was interjected in the group. So obviously, Swerve is one of those guys who's, coming into the wrestling business, he's been about himself because that's how the wrestling business is sometimes, AJ has his way of doing things. He has his way of looking out for people. He looked out for B-Fab, and I'm never going to take that away from him, So when people were saying, oh, AJ was problematic, he was this, I don't think AJ was problematic. I just think he didn't take off the bullshit. And as much as shit that I give AJ as being a bad wrestler, I could also say that, he stands on business when it comes to, and I'm making that, when it comes to that, I'm not even saying that to be funny. I'm saying it to be honest. Like, I could criticize this guy, but I'm not gonna. But if I think he's a bad wrestler, I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm not gonna shut on him completely. I'm just gonna keep it honest. Like, if I think something is real, I'm gonna keep it real. And I think with AJ, I don't think he was a problematic person. I just think, again, he didn't pull up with people's bullshit. Sometimes it's good to stand your ground, and I think he did a lot of that a lot of times. But in WWE, obviously, him being a black man, it could come off a certain way, and maybe that didn't do him favors. But he always stood his ground on things. He did get rehired, and he got fired again. I don't think it's so much like, oh, he's problematic. Again, he's just not one of those guys who's going to fall in line for the bullshit.
And I respect him for it. I do respect him for it. We got old Nutty who says, SP3, give Jimmy the 10-minute solo stage on AE Ramble on this topic. Yeah, because he won't be as diplomatic as Josh was, or what I was, or Krssi was. He will just rip into Swerve for this.
Yeah, I mean, he will because again, he already has a dislike for Swerve. So obviously, this is just. I think that's what. I think when it comes to Swerve and the internet and all this stuff, I think that's all it really is, in my opinion. People are upset because of certain things. People are upset because he interviewed with Vlad. They're like, oh, a lot of black creators, why did you do an interview with Black TV? Which, in a sense, I could understand. But I think a lot of the animosity is the fact that Swerve did something that pissed people off and their own personal thing, and they're running with it. Now they think, oh yeah, he's not wrong in this. AJ is right completely. But they're not really hearing the context of the situation, or at the end of the day, we don't know what really is the issue or what's real life. Like, we don't know. And at the end of the day, that's an issue between those guys. Unfortunately, now it's public, and hopefully they work things out. Even if it's behind the scenes, it doesn't need to be public if they work it out. It's just, at the end of the day, this is really not our business. Swerve answered the question. And he really didn't throw AJ under the bus, because he also did defend him in that interview.
Yeah. But yes, we'll see what Jimmy has to say on Thursday, which I'm sure is going to be.
This is more.
It's going to be a fun one.
That's exactly what it is. That comment. That's exactly what it is. I'm like, that's all it's going to be.
We got Wrestling Lulz, who says, you guys think that you could have a call-in show on a future live stream for fans to call in? We have done that in the past, and I said in the super chat goal, you decide if y'all want that to be the super chat goal. We just need 2 more super chats. Then yeah, we'll do that next week if you like. If we hit our super chat goal, we'll do a call-in episode where we'll put the link in the chat, and you guys can join us for next week's show. We'll do it that way. So thanks for the good idea. That's a good idea. But yes, I'm gonna have my finger on the button for the disclaimers for sure on Thursday. Don't you worry. And Bala B says, Jimmy not going to channel Dr. Indeed. Josh, do you have to go now?
Yeah, it's 1.
All
shit, right. Yeah, it's actually 1:00. So
there you go. So we got to talk about it before you
Later,
bid us adieu. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social media, when they'll see you again.
You can follow me, JMPunk321 on Instagram and X. I'm still trying to get used to that because I got my account back. So it feels good to be tagged in posters again, SP3. I wanted to say that. So, appreciate everybody giving me the support of coming back. But then last week on my birthday, I appreciate all the birthday shout outs and everything. And next week I'll be back for the next episode. I'll be back on next Saturday.
There we go. Thank you as always, Josh. And look at that. We hit our super chat goal right before you left. Vala B says, do a call-in
That's all you needed.
show. Do a call-in show, but maybe not next week when I'm not around. Okay, so for you, Vala B, since you are part of the community that has that is sending a super chat to us, we'll do the Q&A after next week's show, because I was gonna do it this week, but Josh is not gonna be here, so I'll do the Q&A after next week's show, and then the week following. So what is that?
But next week he's not here?
Next week is April 5th. So we'll do a Q&A after that one. And then April 12th, we'll do the call-in episode. All right? So Tru Heel Heat,
sounds good.
324. 324 will be the call-in episode for you, Valabi. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yep.
Donation. And then finally, we got Chilling with Chase, who always shows his support as always. Thank you so much, Chase. He says, we'll help with the goal, and you are number 10. Thank you, Chase. I appreciate y'all. Right. So thanks for all the love. But
appreciate it.
Thank you, as always, Josh. See you next time, brother.
Later.
All right. Take care.
Yes. All right, we're going to finish up with here. We got some other news to touch on from AEW. Last October, All Elite Wrestling and Warner Brothers Discovery announced a new multi-year TV deal, renewing their broadcasting partnership. While AEW TV ratings are a constant subject among fans online every week, the chatter over TV ratings is reportedly not a topic for WBD is currently, per Andrew Zarian of Beyond the Bell podcast. According to Zarian, he's been hearing very positive things from WBD regarding AEW. Zarian reported, I've been hearing very positive stuff from WBD. I brought up the ratings and the internet chatter to them, and they don't care. It doesn't even resonate. Zarian explained that key people within WBD don't resonate regarding internet chatter over the ratings. He continued, the messaging on the internet is not even resonating with these people. They're in key positions there. AEW and WBD's new multimedia deal was signed last year that keeps a Dynamite and Collision on TBS and TNT respectively, and also began weekly live simulcasts on WBD's Max platform. The deal is also supposed to bring AEW pay-per-view events to Max at a discounted rate at a later date. Past editions of AEW TV programming and pay-per-view events are also available to stream on Max. PW Insider reports that Warner Brothers Discovery was thrilled with how promotional material for the Minecraft movie was integrated into AEW Dynamite this week. PW Insider also notes that more film integration can be expected in the future. Due to the NCAA tournament, AEW adjusted its programming this past weekend, airing AEW Collision as 2 one-hour segments on Saturday and Sunday. And according to Andrew Zarian, Warner Brothers Discovery is open to further scheduling experiments with AEW Dynamite and Collision as the NHL playoffs approach. He said, and I quote, spoke to someone a couple of weeks ago, and they were telling me that these experiments that Warner is willing to try. College basketball takes precedent. The NBA All-Star Weekend takes precedent. Rather than canceling the show, let's put it on a different time slot and see if we can do something with it. Maybe you're going to attract different types of fans. We have another opportunity for this during the Stanley Cup and during the NHL playoffs. So listen, anything could change here. I heard from two sides from Warner that during the Stanley Cup, there's going to be an opportunity to do do something very big. The way it was presented to me is that it's a possibility of a 4-hour special happening on or multi-hour. The idea is still soft. It could be just Dynamite on and then followed by a Collision, so a 4-hour block for AEW. Zarian pointed out that AEW. Yeah. AEW has previously utilized the 3-hour programming blocks, citing instances where AEW Rampage followed AEW Dynamite and AEW Battle of the Belts aired directly after AEW Collision. So we've been saying this for a year and a half that
Mhm.
you can't listen to the internet when it comes to ratings, because the
Mhm.
internet is always overly critical of just AEW's ratings, not
Right.
anybody else's, just
Not anyone
AEW.
else's. Yep.
Because yes, it's down year to year, but you have to account for so many other things like cord cutting and stuff like that. And the numbers that really matters at the end of the day, and we've been saying this since AEW started, it's the demo. What are
Mhm.
they ranking in the demo? And 9 times out of 10, every Wednesday, and even on some Saturdays, they're in the top 5 of the demo. That's what matters the most to Warner Brothers Discovery. What matters the most is the overall number to fans who want to talk shit on the internet.
True. Very true. It's the internet is like it's the own worst enemy. Like, and they think everything that they say is true. That's the damn sad part. It's like, no, it's like, why don't you talk about the ratings for like Raw, other shows? Like, it's not, it hasn't been that since the first episode on Netflix. It's going up and down. And
Yep.
especially since they're airing it like in the afternoon these last couple of weeks, people, they're like, damn, why is Raw in the afternoon? People keep forgetting that it was like, why am I seeing highlights and why am I not seeing a live show? Well, yeah, because it came on already. It was like, they need to leave Europe. I'm like, what do you think is happening?
What do you think here?
But a lot of people are like annoyed, and the ratings, I'm sure, showed a lot in this European tour as well, because it's not showing on the regular time for North America, of course. But what are you gonna do? Damned if you do and damned if you don't. To be honest.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens in the future. But yeah, we don't even know the numbers that AEW is getting on Max, because they don't release those numbers anyway.
Right.
So,
and that's why I've been watching it on that's why I've been watching it on Wednesdays. It's much easier, it's effortless. It's like I just gotta just log in. I don't gotta look for no channel. I just know I just gotta go into that app. It's actually very, very effortless. It's very easy.
Yeah. But AEW is about to make history for Warner Brothers Discovery, as AEW Dynamite is going on a spring breakthrough with the special episode announced for next month. The company announced on Sunday's Collision that the April 16th show will be themed as AEW Spring Breakthrough. That episode will be from the MGM Music Hall at Fenway in Boston, and will make the show the longest running weekly primetime wrestling show in Turner Sports history, as it will surpass WCW Nitro. AEW Collision is taking a 1 week trip to Thursday for that week, for WrestleMania week, as TNT schedule lists that week's episode of Collision airing on Thursday, April 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern, with AEW's event schedule showing that the episode taking place in Boston. It was supposed to be taped on Thursday, but it will air live on Thursday now. The episode will be their spring breakthrough episode of Collision, and WrestleMania 41 Night 1 takes place on Saturday, and would have went head to head with Collision had it stayed at the Saturday night time slot. I said it to you guys, I'll say it here to everybody watching. This is because WrestleMania is going to be on the Saturday, and they don't want to go head to head with WrestleMania, but it's also should be looked at as like a test run, because I said it for a year. I think Collision would be doing better on Thursdays than Saturdays.
Absolutely. I agree. It definitely needs to be a weekday show. I mean, they've been giving you good shows on a Saturday, just that everyone is not going to watch them on Saturdays because everyone's outside or they're doing something, things like that. That happens. But yeah, smart of them to the people don't even have to they don't have to work this weekend. Most of those people are probably going to be out there that weekend as well. So that's why he's doing these shows on a Thursday. I think it's very smart of Tony Khan. If it was the other way around, they probably would have put their show on that day and they wouldn't give a shit about you.
So true.
But Tony Khan knows he's like, I'm not going to waste my wrestlers' time and other people's time where there's two events happening. Let them have their shine. And I understand that. Don't waste money. Don't lose time. Put it on a Thursday and let them have that live show. Like you said, make this test run. I think a Thursday show would be great. Have it on a Thursday, even though that's when TNA is on, per se. But
who's watching TNA?
True. Valid. I mean, if I'm available and I can watch it, I will, tune in and see what's happening.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I watched it. I watched TNA. I have to watch it for this show. So I'm not saying that we're in that company, but it's not a lot of people that are watching TNA live on Thursdays.
that part.
Another show that not a lot of people watch on Thursday, Ring of Honor TV this week. The show featured Atlantis Jr., Fiego, and Teton defeating Braviado Cabanare, Arugo, and Valador Jr. in another fun Lucha Libre Trios main event. Athena and Diamante beat Maserati and Jordan Blue. The Sons of Texas and Willie Mack defeated MXN Collection. Post-match, MXN Collection and Johnny
guys are still
TV.
champions? This is ridiculous.
I've been saying this for months.
This is ridiculous.
They beat Sons of Texas and Willie Mack defeated MXM Collection and Johnny TV, but post-match, Johnny TV and MXM jumped the baby faces before stealing the Ring of Honor World Tag Team title once again. So the feud continues between MXM and the Sons of Texas. And finally, you had TNA Impact this week. The show featured Nick Nemeth defeating Leon Slater in a good main event. Post-match, Nick and Ryan Nemeth beat down Slater until the Hardys made the save. Matt Hardy then challenged the Nemeths to prove themselves as the best brother tag team when they faced the Hardys for the TNA World Tag Team Championships at Rebellion. Joe Hendry issued an open challenge to anyone to step up to be his next challenger for the TNA World title. Elijah came out to not be the next challenger, but instead said that he was Hendry's friend. After trying to sing "You Got a Friend in Me" from Toy Story, Elijah's song was interrupted by Frankie Kazarian playing the bass guitar. Both Hendry and Elijah beat up on Kazarian until he bailed. Masha Slamovich beat JC Jane. Post-match, Tessa Blanchard attacked Masha from behind until Zaya Brookside and Li Ying Lee made the save. Ash and Heather by Elegance defeated Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan of NXT. But post-match, you had the Elegance brand went to blow off their candles on their TNA Knockouts Tag Team Title Celebration cake until Gigi and Tatum smashed the cake in Ash's face. Poor Ash. Eric Young beat Ace Austin in a solid matchup, and 54-year-old Chavo Guerrero Jr. was out here looking like he was 24 as him and the Aztec Warriors defeated First Class and Frankie Kazarian in a fun trios matchup there. So good stuff from TNA this week on screen. Unfortunately, not always off screen. Because Gail Kim, a significant figure in TNA wrestling, has departed from the company, along with Ariel Schrenner, Rob Klingman, and Michael Sherlinsko, as announced in an email sent out by TNA. According to Fightful Select, the email reads, departing our leadership team are Ariel Schrenner, Gail Kim, Rob Klingman, and Michael Sherlinsko. As a long-term Anthem employee, Ariel has played an important role in growing our Anthem properties from his work on Fight Network and most recently his focus on TNA. Ariel has been instrumental in building our storylines and growing our audience. Gail has a long and storied career in TNA as both a champion wrestler and a part of TNA leadership team. Gail has been a powerful presence in our locker room, supporting our talent and their great performances. I'm just like dumbfounded by this. Honestly.
Yeah, it's just terrible.
Hunter Johnston, known as Delirious, will now lead TNA's creative direction, and David Klinger, with experience from UFC, NBA, NFL, and Universal, is set to join as Senior VP of Digital next month. TNA has released a statement on the exits of several top figures. They said, today we announced a restructuring resulting in staff changes at TNA Wrestling. These decisions are always difficult, but it became apparent that we needed to make adjustments to our business strategies. We are grateful for those who worked here and thank them for their years of dedication to the company. Finally, we want our fans to know that we are committed to producing the absolute best product and highest highest quality content that we can, and we appreciate their continued support. Fightful Select had more details on the releases of the executives and the backstage reaction to Gail Kim being among them. Several TNA talents contacted Fightful about the news with reactions like shock, disbelief, and anger. It was said to be unanimously unpopular, according to the talent, with at least one saying that they plan to leave TNA when their deal was up because of it. Others noted that they were afraid for their jobs. The reaction to Kim leaving was more negative than the exit of Scott D'Amore last year. As negative as it has been publicly, it has been even worse in private. Another person said that they were not surprised by the move, as Kim is not shy about making her opinions known creatively and occasionally had disagreements with those running the company. Another person added that that's what you want out of a person in her position, someone who will advocate for a better show. Kim was said to be upfront about things she thought could be handled differently or more professionally. She wasn't involved in creative, but had been pushing for more for the Knockouts division after D'Amore left the company. AEW and WWE sources expect there will be a lot of interest in Kim now that she's a free agent, and a few said that they were going to push to hire her. Kim plans to stay in the wrestling business outside of TNA, and there was said to be shock from people in the business at her firing, which several wanted to know why it happened. As for Kim, it was said she seemed determined when contacted, and she did not have a non-compete clause in her contract and can appear or work for whoever she wants immediately. One source noted that Anthem is likely trying to change the regime in the company after the exits of D'Amore, Kim, and Josh Matthews, who had been there for years. There had been several different TNA presidents as of late with different visions from those presidents. The decision to fire Kim came from TNA president Carlos Silva, who told her what happened and didn't say why other than changes. He has heat on him in the company now for what he did. Tommy Dreamer, who is still in creative, was moved to talent relations to fill Gail Kim's role. Fightful Select and Mike Gilbert gave more details on the members of the team that also left. Romy Glazer, a member of TNA's marketing team, ran the marketing for TNA Plus last year and took over digital live event marketing and media alongside Ross Foreman, and when Lou D'Angeli was released, according to Gilbert. Rob Klingman became the company's chief revenue officer in the summer of 2024, and Gilbert noted that someone close to TNA team said Rob was doing a great job, got close to $1 million in ad sales in under 12 months. Guy is the real deal, tops Vita, Coco, and all the movies were him. Michael Shalinsko is led the social media teams, along with also leaving Karen Cliff. Rafael Morpho who is exiting, is someone that Fightful Select notes TNA denied had been working for them for several months, and the site notes that sources have said this is because he was unable to formally join the company due to a non-complete clause from his previous work. Many people expected Ariel Schrenner to exit after Carlos Silva took over as TNA president. Schrenner is said to have set up a lot of the names that have found success in the last year. But TNA has announced that they have found a location for TNA Bound for Glory, which is coming up in October, their big event for the year. The Fightful Select reports that it's going to be in Lowell, Massachusetts. The report notes that nothing is confirmed or locked in as of yet, only that the venue has been discussed. But we got to talk about TNA being TNA and this stupid decision to release multiple freaking executives, as well as more importantly, Gail Kim. Like, I understand why it's more unpopular than Scott D'Amore, because Gail Kim is not only someone who's done great work and created a legacy on air as a wrestler, she was so important to the Knockouts division, going to prominence as a performer and then backstage in creative. What did you think, Krssi, about the news?
Very, very sad. Like, she's like one of the faces. Like, you know, you think of TNA for that women's division, you think about her like as one of the like pillars and one of the like the anchors for that division. You understand what I'm saying? So for them to do that is very saying about that company. But part of me is also like, are they doing this so that they can so WWE can pick them up and put them over there since they're all in this like dance together? So I wouldn't even be surprised if they're like, yeah, we're gonna pick her up and give her a big executive, thing over this, over here.
I mean, I don't know a lot about WWE inner workings, but I do know they don't have a lot of women in power positions outside of like the Stephanie McMahons of the world, and not a lot of women in the creative department either.
And
especially not a lot of women with wrestling experience like Gail Kim.
And she would be perfect over there. I feel like. I mean, but you could have hired
I feel she would be perfect in AEW. AEW needs a woman in that creative team outside of like Jen Peppermint.
True. Either way, I think either position it wouldn't be bad. I think they both need the help, one more than the other. But I feel like both of them are like lacking in that department for sure.
Yeah, 100%. We got Old Nutty who says AEW pick up
That's who's gonna offer them. Listen, Gail, make them do a real tug at you, girl. Who's giving you the money? Get every dime. You're worth it. Get every dime. Every dime. And you're a legend at that too. Come on.
Yeah, she's an absolute legend. I think WWE would use her more as like a coach more than in creative or management.
Now, don't give her. Yeah, don't put her at the performance center, guys. Like, and we don't even.
That's what WWE is gonna do, though. I know. It sounds good to have her in creative, but that's not what WWE does with former women's wrestlers like that.
That's so sad. Like, we need like a strong woman to fight and like be there because the other girl, she's not there anymore. Well, she says she's not there, but whatever.
Yeah, we got Vala B who says the firing of Gail Kim is the most LOL TNA moment in a long time, even more than firing Scott D'Amore. It is. Definitely. We got Safet who says TNA, what the fuck are you doing by firing Gail Kim?
Failed her.
Like, yeah, and then Vala B talking about the on-screen saying Joe Hendry's run is dog water. They have not pushed Joe Hendry like he's the TNA world champion. They got fucking Tessa Blanchard back on their fucking television screen and taking a prominent role. Like, this is just a series of bundles, and it comes off a year where they had their best year ever. Their best year in a long time, business-wise, where they've been selling out shows. They got the Hardys back. Joe Hendry got massively over. They got Nick Nemeth. They have all this star. They have Jordan Grace, who was there. You got Masha Slamovich, but they kicked off the year losing Speedball Mike Bailey, Josh Alexander, and Jordan Grace. You put Tessa Blanchard back on television in a prominent role, and now you let go, you fire Gail Kim?
Terrible.
It's strange decisions by TNA.
I hope they know what they're doing.
Can't help themselves. Oh, Nutty says WWE D show. Their televised performance center is since NXT is now their C show. NXT is back to being a third brand where TNA feels like they're more of a developmental now that more than NXT is.
Listen, I mean, it shows in the product too.
We got Dion. We got Senior Nerd who says at worst WWE will put Gail in Evolve as a producer.
Oof.
I can see that.
Yuck.
I can see that. And RP Jesus says WWE give Gail that Mickey treatment. I can also see that.
Put on one of them damn TV shows being a coach that nobody care about.
Oh man, yeah. I don't see Gail Kim being used well in WWE for what she can offer, for what she offered to TNA. I don't see them capitalizing on that. Call Me Mr. Bonda says Hendry can't wrestle. clap, clap, clap. Belt up Mike. I do feel like Mike Santana is a better option to be the TNA World Champion long term.
Again, they know, they saw his popularity and then they didn't know what else to do with him, which is like, I'm sorry, like, you guys got to stop doing this. Like, yes, because a person is over, let's put a belt on them, but then what happens after that? Like, you guys got to build up and get like credible characters that he can go against and make it more presentable for us. Because now he's in the Gunther range where we don't really give a shit anymore about him being a damn champion. We're like, okay, when is he gonna come off?
No.
Which is sad.
And Bell says, is it just me or does NXT ironically feel more like the third biggest promotion these days? No, it's just you, because NXT is WWE.
Damn, don't do my girl like that. Damn.
No, I'm just being real. NXT does not feel like it's a standalone promotion. It's WWE. It's WWE's third brand. It's the third show of WWE. WWE is the biggest promotion in the world, and NXT is the third brand of WWE. I'm just being real. Does NXT feel like a standalone promotion to use, Krssi?
No.
Exactly. So, like,
the supporting cast.
Yeah. And then we got Dan Huggins, who says Gail Kim would be wasted in AEW. If there's one thing I know about AEW and TK, he likes taking responsibility when things get praised. AEW's women's division is the worst of any company. That's a damn lie.
What?
That's a damn lie. You don't watch TNA, because the TNA Knockouts division has been fucking barren for about a year. Like, you're bugging. And Timeless Toni Storm is the best women's wrestler in North America right now. How dare you? That's some bullshit. Oh man. But teach yourself. But we made it to the end of our podcast. Made it to your favorite time of the show, Miss Krssi Love. Best and worst of the week, moment of the week, and matches of the week. Miss Krssi Love, we'll start it off. Who had the best week for you?
Best week goes to, I'm gonna give it to Naomi for that killer promo. And proceed with caution. I love this whole gimmick of hers. She was right. How dare they treat her like the aftermath and whatnot? I'll give it to Naomi. Honorable mention to Phil finally getting his main event bag.
That's what I'm gonna give it to. I'm gonna give it to CM Punk. CM Punk getting his WrestleMania main event. He's gotta be best of the week for me. Worst of the week, Krssi. Who gives it?
John Cena.
Wow. I mean, I thought it was obvious. It's TNA.
Well, okay, fine. TNA. Sorry. Great. Honorable mention to John Cena.
It's TNA for me.
Yeah, getting rid of Gail Kim. Yeah, you're right. Okay, TNA for sure. Sorry.
TNA
I was clouded by that.
For me.
I was clouded by the judgment of John Cena's, antics on Monday. But okay, fine.
Yeah. And moment of the week, I'm gonna go with the contract signing with CM Punk getting his WrestleMania main event.
Yeah, I like the whole back and forth. Like, you don't even deserve to be here. You're lucky even here. I love the whole back and forth. They did great with that segment. I wonder if they didn't even rehearse it or whatever, but they did really good with that whole segment. I feel like they hit it out the park for sure. Yes.
Yeah. And I'm gonna keep it simple this week. I only got 5 matches, Krssi Love. Look at me.
Me too.
Look at me. I'm growing here. I'm only going to give 5 matches. 5 matches this week. Number 5, I'll go with Stephanie Vaquer versus Fallon Henley from NXT, the main event. Number 4, I'll go with El Grande Americano versus Dragon Lee from Raw. Number 3, I'll go with Commander and Hologram versus LFI from Collision, Slam Dunk Sunday. Number 2, Konosuke Takeshita versus Mark Briscoe from Dynamite. And number 1, Kyle Fletcher versus Cody King from Dynamite. What you got?
For me, number 5, I have Stephanie Vaquer, Parker, and Fallon. I feel like both matches were great, so I combined them together. because she worked 2 matches, so whatever. But yeah, honorable mention to Americano and Dragon Lee. That was actually really good. I loved that match. It was really good. Next one, I have Raquel Rodriguez and Lyra Vaquer from Monday Night Raw. I have Mark Briscoe and Takeshna, Thunder Tits versus Bane and Ford, and then my last is Brody and Fletcher.
When I had 10, that made my list, the tag team match from Dynamite. But I trimmed it down to 5 this week because I was like, gotta keep it short and sweet for this week. I'll give Danny one more try. I'll give him a comment since I ripped apart his last comment. I'm sorry. He says, yes, you're right. Storm is the best currently, but name another women's storyline in AEW that means anything. I'm not talking about pointless matches, screw matches. Where's the story? Willow Nightingale and Marina Shafir. I named one other. That's really interesting, and it's in the main event picture. And they're probably gonna be the main event of Dynamite for a 3rd week for women. Megan Bacon's whole push is huge, and I know she's feuding with Timeless Toni Storm, but within itself, her whole story of getting the rise up to face Timeless Toni Storm is very interesting. They still have the will they won't they storyline going on with Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale that's bubbling under the surface. Julia Hart over on Collision is picking up victories as well. She may be in line for a TBS championship matchup. Mercedes Moné and Athena have their whole war of words over on social media that's about to come on AEW television. So I just gave you about 4. So sorry, I had to rip that apart again too. I answered the question. And I'm much rather those few storylines than Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair. So WWE has the worst.
That is true.
The worst story in women's wrestling. And like I said, TNA, there's no women's division or nobody that's over because they don't dedicate any time to the people underneath the Mashas and the Tessa Blanchards. So they have objectively the worst in North America right now.
Ouch.
That's what it is. Oh, Nutty gives match of the week to Fletch and Brody. We got best of the week going to Ricochet and Samantha for being married.
Oh, so yay! And him giving a whole promo during his wedding, right before it or afterwards or whatever.
And that was by far the best outfit he's wore on AEW television.
And it's his damn wedding outfit.
But yes, Krssi Love, we've made it to the end of another flagship podcast. Always appreciate you being on here. Let everybody know where they can follow you on social media and when they'll see you again.
Hey guys, so you can follow me, Krssi Love _1, a Tru Heel Krssi Love, and just my plain old name. Please watch our Dark Side of the Ring. Our latest episode has dropped for the new season, so watch myself and SP as we broke that down, the Hell in a Cell with Mick Foley. Also watch our on our other channel, our Raising Canaan review. That is out, so you can watch that. We'll be back again this week to drop that episode, I guess. And other than that, you can just hit me up. I do roundtables, I do reviews, and yeah, watch SP. They've done. Did you guys do the latest episode of Daredevil?
We're doing that tomorrow. Me and Corey.
Okay. Yeah, because it was 2 episodes that dropped or whatever. So yes. Great episodes, by the way. It's cooking. It's cooking. Oh my god.
Good.
One episode didn't even have to do with anything that's happened this whole season, but it was still
that
great.
was my favorite episode of the season. The bank robbery.
The bank robbery was like epic. Like I'm just sitting there. I was like, yo, this episode is fire. They don't even deal with any of the other characters, but this whole episode is just chef's kiss. Did I didn't even know we had another episode to watch? I was like, oh my god, there's another one that's coming on. Okay, great. That was good too, but that is the episode.
The first one was the best. It is the best episode.
The bank robbery, the bank episode is amazing TV work at its finest. It reminds me of the movie with Denzel Washington and I think his name is Clive Owens. I forgot the name of the movie. Freaking crap! But it's the same kind of scenario as a bank thing, and one of us is gonna get out, and one is not, and same kind. It's so good. So yeah, so go watch that. I guess they'll be doing it tomorrow live. So go watch that, guys, and support the channel. Other than that, yep, that's me, SP.
You can follow me on the Twitter machine at Tru Heel SP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Tru Heel Heat. Patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. $3 a month. Get you exclusive content. The best place to support us when we are not live here. Don't worry, Belle. I'll highlight your comment as well since I feel like I ripped you apart too. I'm sorry. He said,
Inside Man, thank you. I make beats. Inside Man, that's it. Thank you, guys. All in the game. You guys are great. See, I know you guys would know. You always got us back.
She said, I meant show SP3 where TNA tried to get in, and I bet the context there is lost. Okay, if you meant third biggest show, then yeah.
And yes, that is correct. We agree. Third biggest show.
WWE is the biggest promotion. That's why, like All in the Game says, to be fair, NXT has at times felt bigger than AEW. WWE is bigger than AEW. You don't need to put any context to make it NXT versus AEW. No, WWE will always be bigger than AEW. Y'all are just trying to go around what's actually the fact of here. It's just bigger. It's just always gonna be bigger, no matter what AEW does. But I do love all of y'all in the chat. Always have fun chatting. On a Saturday. We gotta go now. We will be back next Saturday. We'll be doing a Q&A following that episode for 323. So join us for that as well. And thank you so much for all the super chat donations, all the comments today. Let us know in the comments down below if you're watching us on demand what you thought about this week in wrestling. CM Punk becoming the WrestleMania main event, TNA firing Gail Kim, Saraya leaving AEW, and AEW signing Mina Shirakawa. And
I was like, what is
my daughter just gave me a sandwich and told me to shut up, so it's time for me to go. But I don't know. This is not.
I would say. It doesn't. Is that ketchup or barbecue sauce? It doesn't even matter.
It's cheese, barbecue sauce, and I think mayonnaise on bread. That means it's time for me to go and throw this away. For Krssi Love, for the True Joy, it is me, your Tru Heel Phenom, SP3. This has been Tru Heel Heat 322. Additions by subtractions. We are signing off until next time.
Laters.